Paul, you wanna make a correction on for the votes?
Yes,
Okay.
4, and 1 abstention.
Okay.
Please, thank you.
First item to be discussed is
So the first item of business tonight is going to be PLZBA 2025-0011. That is 604 7th Ave. The applicant is John Blackburn. So
Yeah, it's. Yeah, here, so they can.
How's that? Good?
Yeah.
You have to accept my request.
You should be set.
Then he'll start.
Okay. Good evening to the board once again. My name is Joe Pernicero. With me is Elizabeth Young Jojo, who is the president of the company. We are here tonight for 604 7th Ave area variances. Because we have a new chairman, I'll give a background of the project, hopefully bring him up to speed, and then we'll jump right back into where we've been the last few months. So the project is located in Lansingburg on the football field of the old Catholic Central High School. Last year, we redeveloped the school and gym building into 98 apartments. That project is now done and almost fully leased. Going very well so far, very positive feedback. This new project is located on the football field right along 7th Ave. Some zoning information there. Again, I mentioned it's a football field of Catholic Central. There's no preview of this. So as you can see, it's 12 new townhouses along 7th Ave, built in groups of 4. I'll get into the updates from last time, but as you can see, the biggest update is adding an alleyway behind the homes to address the concerns of trash that were brought up in last meeting. Some background on the last few meetings here. Like I said, this is our 3rd time here with this project. The first time we came, we had driveways in front of the townhouses. There was some discussion around that, recommendation to remove those. So we came back a second time with the driveways removed. We also sort of separated the space between the blocks of 4 to help reduce our variance count. Our original request, we had 41 variances. We've gotten that down to 14. Perhaps again, here, the largest change this time is adding the alley in the back for trash and fire trucks to sort of relieve that trash concern that was identified by the neighbor. There's some photos of the site. This is looking north on 7th Ave on the left, and then looking east on the bottom right. And then looking back towards the gym building, looking north. So the 2 types of variances we're requesting. First one is lot width variance. So the required lot width in this zone is 40 feet. As we've said, last time, the middle houses are less than that. They're about 23 feet wide, which is common in this part of Lansingburg. Several lots throughout the area are around 25 feet wide, 23 to 25 feet wide. The ones on the end do meet the 40-foot requirement, so we're only requesting the variances for the ones in the middle there. Second type of variance is a building frontage variance. So in this neighborhood zone, you're required to have a maximum 80% frontage, which means the front of your house can't cover more than 80% of your lot width. Obviously, townhouse style, the 2 in the middle on each set exceed that, and that's why we're requesting the relief there. I think that sort of recaps everything. We're happy to answer any questions that still are outstanding.
No.
Elizabeth can speak to anything else.
Joe, I have a question.
Yep.
So, all right.
Let me
Go back. No, actually, we can stay there for now. So we're putting the garbage in the alleyway now.
Yep.
Is there, that's, actual garbage pails, like Troy's gonna come down
Yeah,
and pick
City of
them
Troy
up?
garbage pails, yeah.
Okay, not a dumpster or anything like that.
Nope.
And I know that previously parking has been a conversation.
Mhm.
I've always been a pro off-street parking person, just to put that out there. I like your driveways. Can you park in that alleyway?
So you can't park on the alleyway. I think, our thought was that the future homeowner there is space to pave their own sort of parking spot off the alleyway, if they wanted to. But no, you can't park on the alleyway, just like you can't park in the alleyway of
Okay.
other parts of Berg.
Will there be curbs so that there would have to be a curb cut by the owners of these townhouses?
I don't know that part has been, I don't think so. So, part of this, if this gets approved tonight, this is going to be a city-owned right-of-way. So we have to meet with city engineering, and all that has to be kind of dedicated with them. But obviously, we didn't have time before this meeting to, I'm not going to put all that work into it. if
Yeah,
it's not,
okay,
yeah.
no, I'm just-
But
so right now, the one picture that you showed of the existing place with the chain link fence and, yeah, so like, so theoretically, those, let's just call those 8-foot panels of chain link, those would be where the townhouses are, and that's where I would park, correct? Am I looking?
So on the left photo, I'm going to walk over there.
Yeah,
This is 7th Ave. So the townhouses are kind of facing this way
okay,
towards 7th Ave, going back towards the football field. The photo on the right, I'm actually standing on 115th.
oh, I see,
I believe.
okay,
So the alleyway entrance would be kind of right there in that photo, going back towards the gym.
okay,
Yep. And the only reason it's 20 feet wide is because we did have time to discuss with the fire department, and that's a requirement from them. So we did at least kind of,
So the alley itself is 20 feet wide.
correct, yeah. So we tried to have some initial conversations on the design, ran it by planning staff, fire department, and, the requirement was 20 feet wide.
But it could go wider, right? Go
The
wider.
alleyway,
The alleyway or not?
They could make it wider if they wanted to pay to make it wider.
I'm thinking for parking, because we're saying, people to park.
It's not a city street, it's an alleyway though,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So this does not cut all the way through. We don't want to encourage, other traffic
Right.
to think like, oh, I can cut through that way. It is indeed designed to be an alleyway.
For residents only. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it's a
Right.
service road, right, for fire trucks, garbage trucks. Yes, Steve.
The service road or alleyway that you're talking about tonight is approximately 20 feet in width. And the fire department is okay with that width, correct?
yeah, they're the ones that told us to make it that wide.
So then the city of Troy garbage trucks would go down that alleyway and they would pick up the garbage from the back side of the townhouses,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm.
So there would be no garbage stored in the front of the townhouses on the 7th Avenue side, correct?
Correct.
Is there an adequate turnaround at the end of that alleyway where you can store plowed snow and bank it and allow the garbage trucks to do a U-turn and drive back out?
I can answer that. So the fire department provided us with a turnaround detail. If it's wide enough for the fire trucks to do a full turnaround, it's certainly gonna be wide enough for some snow and the dump trucks. So it's actually a little bit bigger than what's shown there. And that can be a condition of any approval, is that it has to be wide enough for the per fire department provided detail to turn around.
Has additional thought been given to putting in a parking lot or an area of strip parking on, let's say, the right side of that alleyway?
No, we're trying to get away from parking lots. I just don't, in our opinion, we didn't think that was necessary here, given the density of what we're trying to build. To your comment about snow, I don't think we would push the snow and store it at the end. I think we would just push it off to the side, to be
Bank
honest
it
with
to the
you.
right.
You
in
got
the
it.
field.
Because
That's
it's just the
fine.
field. Yeah.
Just trying to think it through.
Also, just to talk to your point a little bit more, these are single family homes. They'll be privately owned. We do not want to have an HOA fee here. We want to sell these houses and then turn them over to the new homeowners. If we had a parking lot that we had to clear, then we would have to manage that parking lot. We would have to charge a homeowner fee. It would get a little bit more complicated.
May I ask a question, Chair?
Of course.
So if eventually the city council accepts this right away through dedication process, is there a full turnaround at the end? Meaning that our plows, our garbage trucks, our fire trucks will not have to do a 3-point turn? Instead, they'll just be able to wheel around, basically?
Correct.
You'll have enough room for that?
Yeah, the fire department gave me a drawing of what that turnaround looks like. That's so that they can do a full turnaround. I guess they have already that drawing ready to go.
But they committed to a full turnaround, not a 3-point turnaround.
I can check the drawing, but it's a fire department turnaround detail.
The way it looks now, it looks like someone would have to do a 3-point.
Yeah, I agree. But that's, maybe we
But,
could,
but our plows will not be doing 3-pointers back
No.
there. Okay, so I mean,
it would be a full turnaround, and that we can commit to that as a condition of approval or something like that. Yeah.
Joe, can you remind me what the facades look like? front.
Yep. You have to give me 30 seconds.
And what kind of community support or lack of are you receiving? Is that me? That's how many?
I mean, the only comments that we have heard were on that meeting last week when some people put some things in the chat about being concerned about parking, which I understand. That was something that people in the neighborhood were concerned about when we initially redeveloped the high school. But I think we have hopefully proven, I mean, we're trying to be very good neighbors there, that we actually have reduced the number of cars that are parking in that neighborhood by converting the school to apartments. We have more dedicated parking in a lot now for those apartment dwellers. We have really lightened the load immensely on the street, especially during the day. Oh, there's the facade photo. Terrible color on the screen, just so you know.
I just have a question, like the alleyway, so you've got to, I'm just gonna ask the question, where like the garbage cans, the 20 feet to me is, and I'm glad the fire department okayed that, but where do the garbage cans go? Because I know my garbage cans from Troy are like
Big.
pretty big. you
Sure.
know?
Well, I believe you're, and I am not a Troy resident anymore. I apologize for that. But do your garbage trucks have an arm on them?
Yes.
Yes. So like at my house, my garbage stays on my property. So we're not saying that people would drag them all the way out into the alley. They'd be right on the edge of the alley. And then the garbage truck would come over, pick them up and dump them.
And I think something that we'd commit to tonight is that, if there were to be an approval, it could be conditioned upon all city departments approving the design of the alley. So Public Works, Fire Department, everybody. Yeah, right, yeah.
is your mic on?
Yes,
Good, good. It didn't sound like.
my mic's on. It's on. You can hear me, right? Everybody? All right.
When you guys were originally building the apartments out, in the old Catholic High, when you talked to the residents around there, did you commit to leaving that as green space, or did you talk about that? I've just heard, because this is my
Sure.
neighborhood, I live in this neighborhood.
Sure.
And there's been some concerns of neighbors saying that you guys had talked about leaving it green space,
Sure.
and that they feel like that you're kind of going back on that.
Sure. I will say that during the process, our plan has changed multiple times, which is often the case with a development project like this.
Mhm.
And in the beginning, we had been talking to potential commercial tenants who would do something on that field and leave it a field. So it was our intention originally. When we found out, when that commercial tenant was no longer an option for us, didn't want to participate, we have this big, lovely swath of land, and we found out about the program, this first time home buyer program. It really resonated with us, to be honest. And now that we're spending so much more time in the community, it really seemed like something that we could potentially do that would make the neighborhood a better place, right? We're not trying to do any harm to the neighborhood. We are only trying to make it a better place. So yes, we did mention in the beginning that our plan was to leave the field open, but we never, promised that, or that was never part of any approvals or anything like that. Plans changed, to be honest.
So to that, how much lawn space does each townhouse have in the front and in the back for private lawn space? You might have to walk it out for me so I can see it visually.
And we did increase the size of the backyards after our last meeting, and the comments we received from you folks then.
I mean, there's no room for a driveway in those backyards? I know I'm killing you with the driveways, but
There is room for a driveway in the backyard. We're gonna leave that up to the future homeowner if they wanted to install that, if they wanted.
Smallest lot, I think, is
20
he's-
feet,
23.
23
45 feet is the backyard length,
length,
45 feet.
okay,
And 23 is
Guesstimate what that is from here,
shortest.
45
and
feet,
22 in the front?
probably.
That would be 23.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty.
Okay.
I don't have a tape measure, but I feel like it's
Mhm.
probably from this bump out, more
Okay.
than that.
Mhm.
So, a parking spot would take up 20 of that if they put it in.
Right.
The front feet, I think it's 5 feet from the front lot line and then another buffer to the street. It's not city owned right away.
Any more board members have any type of comment or?
20 feet to me for a road seems narrow. Getting a garbage truck, like when people park in my alley, I'll say when I park in my alley. People are like, if I'm out there working, I'll park in the alley. And if I'm unloading or loading something, I have to move my truck when they want to go by. I think it's narrow, and especially if it's a garbage day, like I couldn't park my truck on garbage day in the alley. It'd get clipped.
I mean, so sorry.
The applicant indicated that they would satisfy every city department's
Mhm.
needs. I
Yeah.
don't know exactly what is required by the departments. They're indicating that the fire department said 20 feet was sufficient for them. But I mean, it's obviously, it's your decision here to make tonight, so.
It's also significantly, if I may, significantly wider than most alleys in Lansingburg. Most alleys in Lansingburg are 12 to 15 feet wide. And they're poorly paved.
Earl Street in the middle of Troy is probably 15 feet wide. I don't know if it's full way or not.
If you met with the city engineer, so walk me through this. So if you meet with the city engineer and they say, hey, we need to make it 25 foot wide.
That's what we do.
Right. Okay.
Again, it's part of the approval.
If you approve the variances, you can condition on that too. You can put the condition.
Okay. Board members all cool with this right now? We could go and, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on behalf or come on up to come forward if you like.
They've got to go to the microphone, give their name and address.
Okay. Guy went. No, he's not coming up.
I think you said he was just waving.
Just waving, okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone online?
Is anybody online who would like to make a comment or?
Well, I'm not seeing anybody online.
Angelina, we did have some emails.
Yes. We did have some emails about concerns about the parking. Yes.
It should be read into the minutes.
Tim sent one, and I guess Tim sent a couple of comments. Things that,
You read.
no, I'm not reading.
Yeah, that's, I read
Uh,
that.
he's
Yeah.
not here.
that's
I'm
what I'm
gonna
talking
read it.
Okay.
I think so. Can,
Should,
can he read that?
should
Oh,
we,
yeah.
should I read this?
Yeah. if you-
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong.
Good evening. My name is Nicole. I'm a 49-year-old and have been a resident of Lansingburg most of my life, along with my parents and twin sister, most recently owning a home in the area. We are also very active members of the community, volunteering and working with others. I wanted to talk about the property at 625 7th Ave, asking for a denial to build the condos. The reason I'm asking you to deny this is for the following reasons. One, this is gonna be long, so. Troy Police as a whole has 137 sworn officers. This includes detectives, special units, and community police. This has not changed since 2020, yet calls have rose significantly according to the New York State Department of Criminal Justice. The fire department had 119 uniformed personnel in 2020, including 5 engine companies, a rescue engine company, 2 truck companies, 3 ambulances, a hazard material unit, and 2 rescue boats. This count has remained static with about 24 personnel per shift, despite doubling of annual calls since 1996. There are also issues with long wait times at hospitals, with one major hospital being Samaritan open in Troy, while the Leonard St. Mary's is closed. Yes, these were not recent. There are little shopping areas to provide food, pharmaceuticals, and everyday care needs, unless you have a vehicle and can shop outside of the city. It is not real safe for some to walk or even take the bus. Also, there's growing age community in the area that cannot walk alone or take a bus. Lansingburg has about 213 teachers from K through 12 with a 12% turnover rate for teachers, with an enrollment of 1,951 students in 2024. Mind you, 177 of these students are listed as homeless. This has grown since the year before by 4%, I believe. We have in the last 2 years added apartments at the Lions Building, top of Gurley Ave, Catholic High, the old Leonard Hospital. Now we're adding more condos behind Catholic High. We all know that we were told there would be businesses in a few of these buildings. Now they want to add additional apartments instead. I am all for the city growing and thriving, but these statistics show how the building of new apartments has had a negative impact and will continue. Not to mention has taken the eyes off the abandoned buildings and homes in the area that have become drug houses for squatters. I ask that you consider the voices of the residents this time and not the voices of the city's pockets. While Troy may be getting more tax money given to them, the residents and the people we count on are suffering. Let's fix the mentioned issues before we allow more apartments to be built. Thank you, Nicole Fredette.
Yeah, one more.
And then we have one more from, this is Tim Finn. In regards to PLZBA 0011604 7th Ave, while changes have been made to the original proposal, it still doesn't fit in the surrounding neighborhood with the density of buildings that they are proposing. They're looking to maximize profit by building 4-unit clusters. They have plenty of land available to build without any variances needed and still profit. Their profit margins shouldn't be at the expense of the surrounding area. With 3-bedroom homes proposed, the number of vehicles for each will also have a negative effect on the area, potentially 24 plus cars total to be parked on the street. Please vote against this application. Timothy Finn.
The applicant has a- You might ask if the applicant has
Yeah,
a
do you have any-
response.
You have any
Comment?
response at all, you guys, please?
Sure. I think our response to the first email would be obviously this city, like, what was that? As many others do, has many different issues, but she made a very good point there that adding to the tax base is one thing that helps to combat those issues. And in terms of safety, I personally believe that more feet on the streets of a city, more front porch lights on, more people, more kids playing out on the sidewalk does nothing but improve the safety of the city when you have positive activities going on and not negative activities going on. So that's our response to the first issue. On the second email in regards to parking, I do just want to say that we have been before this board several times. And we have listened. We have listened to the comments of the people in the neighborhood. We have listened to the comments of this board, and we have made several major changes to the project because of those comments in the hopes of trying to make as many people happy as we possibly can. But this is land that we own, and we believe in this project. We are not indeed lining our pockets with this project. This is a project that is affordable to first-time homebuyers, and that is something that is very important to us, as I mentioned earlier. Our purchase price, the purchase price for homeowners on this project is in the mid 200s. Look at the real estate market today and try to find a quality product in the mid 200s. It's very, very difficult to do. So of course, though, we are business people, of course, but we want this project to be affordable. We are making all of the changes that have been asked of us. And we really, in my heart of hearts, believe this is a really wonderful thing for this neighborhood.
I drove down there on Sunday, just to give you my opinion. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this or not, but I'm going to. My grandson had a hockey tournament at the Nick Arena. And I said, you know, we've always lived up the hill, let's put it that way, for the last 5 years. And we lived all over the place. But, you know, you get down into Lansingburg, and Lansingburg, you can see what it was to me, to what it needs to become. And the Nick Arena was unbelievable. I don't know if any of you guys have gone there or not, but what was done there is the nicest hockey rink. I don't care. I don't care if we're at Clifton Park a lot, you know, that is a great place. And they got a playground there, which is great. We said, hey, we should bring our little granddaughter down here, you know? And so I liked the idea myself. I liked where it was at because I'd never actually been down there. And so, you know, that's me.
Okay.
That's okay. All right.
Give one more call for public comment.
Any call for public comments out there, you guys? Don't be shy.
Before you can entertain a motion this evening to approve or deny the variances as requested. But before you do so, you must do a seeker finding, a determination of whether or not, this is an unlisted action, so you don't have to declare lead agency or anything like that. But you do need to vote on whether or not the project will have any adverse environmental impacts.
I can
So if it,
I can handle that.
you
but
could, okay.
As traditional, but I'd like, but before we go and take that action, I'd like to make one other comment, which I think I mentioned the last time they were here, or last times, is that, you know, given the various concerns and the various efforts and conditions that are placed on this, any movement towards potentially approving this or these variances, consider making the approval or potential approval specific to this proposal only, and not to intended not to set a precedent, because you've had various, you had an apartment project, you have these townhome projects, and you have a lot of public concerns. And I think if we make any potential approval specific to this project and these set of conditions and facts, that will be best for all.
Any plans on doing anything with the rest of the football field where your proposed project is going to go in?
We touched on this a little bit in the last meeting. We want to build these townhomes and see how that goes. We have not built townhomes before. And our plan at this point is to leave that green space. Again, as I said to you last month, however, we may come back to you in the future to potentially do some more townhomes on this site. But at this point, that is not our plan. We are before you here, just as you said, for this specific project only.
Before I go forward with a motion with regards to seeker, can I ask, was there a negative declaration?
No, that would be a seeker determination.
Oh, okay, because
Okay.
it's listed as unlisted, and
It's-
sometimes that happens.
It's
in
an
the process.
unlisted action
Right.
under the regulations.
Right.
So this board is charged with determining or not whether it will have whether there will be any adverse impacts on the environment. If you
Understood.
find that there are none, that will be a negative declaration.
Right. Sometimes there's been other efforts or reviews and I just want to verify that there was none. So if the chair will allow me to go forward.
Yes, you,
With regards to PLZBA 2025-0011, as supported by the staff reports, I ask that the board find this proposal to be an unlisted seeker action with sufficient information available.
Do you want to combine that with how you'd like the board to declare? Whether or not there will be any adverse,
Well, based on the information there, well, I don't know, are we,
so.
we usually don't make that determination without the staff.
Like what?
A negative declaration.
So before you can take any action on the variances, you do have to make a declaration about whether or not there will be any adverse environmental impacts. So,
Well,
I
if
mean,
it's unlisted,
right, unlisted is just a category of action. It doesn't mean that an unlisted action could have could be a pos deck or a neg deck. So a
Well-
neg deck means that you don't see any adverse environmental impacts.
understood, but usually well, based on any information to the contrary in the staff reports, the motion would support a negative declaration.
So now you need a second. Now you need a second.
I second.
Then
let's vote.
We're gonna do roll call vote. Roll call vote.
Okay.
Yes, approve.
Approved.
Approve.
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 now you can entertain the variances. If you, a motion for the variances. I don't know. Are there two categories of variances here? One is
Two.
basically a frontage.
Building frontage and lot width.
Can we
So I would-
approve based on the fire department and,
Yeah.
yeah, that's, I
You-
just want to
you
make
can-
that on
you
the
can-
record.
You,
that
you
We
can,
are we're conditionally approving that you follow the fire department and the city engineers.
Public
in the
works.
city
all
department
our
requirements.
works, all those people, the width of the
The alleyway.
alleyway and
So
the
you-
turnaround.
So you make that plain in your motion, if you're making the motion. And you should probably make two motions, one for the, there's two types. They've got one for, one for, the lot width and the other one for
Frontage. Yeah.
frontage, right?
Yes.
There's 14 in
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So we should make a motion on the lot width.
Yes.
So someone has to make the motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion on the lot widths. We could do that. And can we take a vote on that? Is that what we do or no?
No,
No.
usually, somebody should do it so that all, I don't call it right, but they have to list all the findings of facts and see why they're approving it.
Oh,
Um,
right. You have to go
Yeah.
down,
Yeah,
you have to go down this
Yeah.
checklist.
You want a motion regarding lot 5 that requires a 40-foot width, 34 feet has been proposed, granting a relief of 6 feet. Lot 8 requires 40 feet of width, 33 feet is proposed, granting a relief of 7 feet. Lots 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, 11, and 40 of lot width, 23 feet is proposed. A relief of 17 feet is requested for each lot. Maximum allowed building frontage is 80%. 100% is proposed for lots 2, 3, 6, 7, 10, and 11,
It's okay.
a relief of 20% each.
So those are area variances. You
Yes.
have a checklist as to why
So we're
you,
gonna do this. So you move, Steve,
I did.
so you continue moving.
Hang on. I move that the board approve the variance of lot width and frontage based on the following findings of fact. It would not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood if granted. The benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by another feasible method other than that proposed in the variance. The variance, if granted, would not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. That would be it on my part.
and did you have some conditions that you wanted to add to your motion?
And,
The alleyway, right?
and that the conditional driveway or alleyway having a minimum of a 20-foot width is also contingent upon approval from planning, the Troy Fire Department, DPW, and any other municipal agency that may be involved.
Okay, and there was one other condition that Evie proposed, I guess.
With regards to making any proposed approval or motion thereof specific to this project and these
It should not be used
dimensions.
as a precedent for any other proposals that may come forth down the line.
Correct.
Whew. I'll second that.
I approve.
Roll call.
You want to make a roll call vote, she'll call the roll.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to call each one to take your votes, each one of the board members.
I vote to approve.
Call by name. Roll call. Evie Dundies.
Evie Dundies.
I vote to approve.
Zachary Park.
Zachary,
I approve.
Steve,
Pose.
Yeah, you okay.
I go forward with this.
Approve.
4-1.
Yeah.
4-1.
Yeah.
4-1.
4-1, 4.
So 4 in favor, 1 opposed.
The proposed conditional variances have been approved by the 41 vote. Say it. Move on.
Have you said that the variance is passed?
Yes.
Okay, by a 4-1
By a
vote.
4-1 vote.
Okay, you're making a record. That's all.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's why I asked you. to make the proposed
Thank you.
variance.
Make them pretty.
No, I'm trying to do what's best I can.
Next one.
That was 6%.
0250013 558 River Street.
Okay, we have next up PLZBA 2025-0013, 558 River Street.
Good evening. I'm Adam from Adirondack Sign Company. Here on behalf of Bargain Grocery Outlet. Last time we were here in front of the board, we got very close to getting you guys to approve our variances. The first one I want to start with is the one underneath Hoosick Street. I was asked to reduce the size of the font. We did. We submitted the drawings to Angelina. And the other technicality, I think that we had to correct was a check mark on the application, something with environmental.
Yes.
Yeah, and we corrected that.
That was resolved, yeah.
Exactly. And the one sign on the building, I didn't think there was any issues with that. So I think that was our two things that the board had asked us to make adjustments. We did as you had asked.
Do you have anything to show?
I do. I don't have anything electronically, but I do
Okay.
have what was originally proposed and what is currently proposed. Let's see here, bear with me a second. This one. Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
This was the original. Here with the part, and we have reduced it.
So hang on, let me just get my bearings here.
Our
Here's the- Okay, here's River or whatever, right? Is this River Street?
I don't know why.
Yes, yes, I think so. This is the front of your store.
Correct.
Where
This
there's
is
no
River Street.
parking.
Bear with me. I'm not
Exactly.
sure I saw
Oh,
that.
okay, yeah.
So this,
Okay.
this is the one underneath Union Street right here.
So it's a hanging, it comes up,
It's a freestanding sign.
right, and it comes up
I'll
30
ask,
feet.
I'll ask him that.
It comes up 30 inches?
30 inches, yes. If you
Okay.
look here.
Where's it on the roof? Where is it
No,
at?
no. This is on the leased parking lot for DOT underneath the Cruiser Street Bridge.
Gotcha. Because you can't miss it when you drive by. Right now, I'm, the grocery, the store itself. It's got-
Yeah, what the reasoning behind these two signs is they're having.
You need to
You
talk,
need to
you need
talk
to make
about Mike.
corrections, okay?
Gotta use.
You
the
can,
mic.
you can take the mic with you.
Yeah.
The reason behind these two signs, patrons are having trouble finding parking. You can see the building, you can see the signs for the grocery store, but since it doesn't have a curb cut on River Street, we want to direct people from Hoosick Street into the parking lot there. And when you're coming down River Street, to come alongside of the building and park on the backside. That was the issue. Matter of fact, even when I first went here to do the survey, I had trouble finding parking. And I was working across the street looking at something even. Hence, what we're trying to do is get people to park, come around and understand where the parking is for this.
So are there two places to park when I'm looking at this overhead here?
Correct, there is.
Okay,
There-
and do they connect?
They do with an
So
alley.
they overflow?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Chad, may I ask a question for clarification? So we received a couple of emails from Howard Silverstein at DOT. They are not completely consistent with each other. I wonder but he did mention that in the second one that he had a conference with you. What was determined in that conference?
So I'm Joe Castaldo with First Columbia. We met with Nathaniel Betty and I met with Howard this morning and discussed this exact sign package. And he did send an email to Angelina, I believe. He didn't send anything on a letterhead, but the email said he has no concerns whatsoever.
So I'm asking why he changed his mind. He had a concern initially.
He did. We talked about it once we sat down and walked him through it and where it's located. We addressed any concerns. For example, if somebody else took over that lot, what happens to the sign? If they had to do work on the bridge, would they have to destroy the sign to do the work? And we said, we would move it. It's a very simple sign. And that alleviated his fears. And he sent the email saying there was.
Was there something about an easement or something like that?
No.
That was discussed?
No, we leased that lot from the DOT. That's why we had to meet with them.
So will the sign be in your lease area?
It'll be on the DOT right of way.
Right, but that's
part of what I lease, yes.
That's part of what you lease, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right.
And I'd like to ask, so I'm just looking at this photo here from the overhead. So there's a long sign that's attached to your building, correct?
Yes.
And then the other sign, is it on top of a building or on the ground?
It's on the ground. The one we're just talking about.
Yeah, it just. on
looks
this
like it's
picture,
on the
It looks
roof,
like it's on the roof. That's why I was.
It's just,
No, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. I just want to know where it is.
I got another one.
Yeah, so
That's fine. I'm just trying to
if you're
clarify.
coming west down Hoosick, there's the DOT lot that we lease, and then there's the little drive lane that brings you to the back of the parking lot, which is
This one.
south of the building. Correct. And there's no signage and people are missing that and having to go make the right onto River and go down and come all the way around. So we wanted to make this easy for patrons to read the signage. We certainly didn't want any size billboards to make it obnoxious or, so we kept it small but large enough with that people can see and direct them to park into the lots.
So it's 3 foot by 6 foot. So it's smaller than a piece of-
Any other board members have any comments?
Yeah, last time we talked about the manual of uniform traffic control devices as guidance for, the modifications. Have you, how have you approached it? That,
We had reduced the size of the font like you guys had requested based on that.
okay.
I don't think I have that. You have reduced it to what size?
We reduced it from what it was. I think it was like 6 inches, and I think we're down to like 4 inches.
It was like 8. I think you had said.
I thought it was 8, yeah.
8 to 6, excuse me.
And the sign has stayed the same size, just
Correct.
the font.
We reduced the size of the font, exactly.
Do you feel like you could accomplish the same, getting people to go in there by not putting a sign there and just painting the, like, on the road or painting on the ground essentially?
Not really, first of all, wintertime, it's gonna be an issue.
Yeah.
Painting stuff on the ground is definitely not as effective as a sign. It's not a large sign. You're gonna need to bring people in with a sign, not with painting on the ground.
The other concern, I think, would be it kind of blocks the view of the river if you're. That's the one spot you kind of see the river.
So my concern is, I don't care for that sign. I like the long sign that's on the building, and I personally think that's enough. I think just Troy's kind of exploding and everybody wants a sign and everybody wants love. I think less is more. That's what I think.
Can I speak to that?
Yes.
So this is a not-for-profit grocery store that we spent years bringing in and a collaboration with numerous entities to get this grocery store open into a food desert that was North Central. We know they've been open since September and the sales are not what we want them to be. We need to help Pastor Mike drive sales to make this grocery store stay viable. I certainly don't want an incident like happened in downtown Albany. And he wants to do more of these. So proof of concept, he does great in Utica. He's a proven concept. We need this to explode. I'm in Troy every day. My office is in this building. And I'm there every day. And I see people go right by to where it is to get the parking lot. And I see them coming around. They'll come up Vanderheiden. There's a very small alley. It's pretty tight. I got an F-150 in my mirrors, almost scraped to get through between the building and a telephone pole. So the main parking is exactly behind the building. And then we lease the DOT lot for the overflow. And people are not, for whatever reason, not getting there. That's why we're here for the signage. It's imperative that we get traffic and people to support that business.
So could you okay, so that's really taking you to the overflow. Could you put a sign in the main parking lot to the overflow?
So that's the overflow. The main parking lot keeps going.
Right, but I mean, the main parking lot is the one that's the long one, the one that I like that's attached to the building.
Well, so that's on the Vanderheiden side. The building, the parking lot, the main parking lot that abuts the grocery store is to the south of that. So if the long one that you're talking about, if I miss that and I'm coming down River Street, whether I'm coming north or south, if I come up Vanderheiden, I have to go through that alley to park there. So we're trying to get the traffic flow to come through the main alleyway to get there. So you pass the overflow lot and then you park in the main lot. You can't get to the main lot if you don't know what's there.
So if I don't know it's there and I'm new and I don't live in Troy and somebody told me there was a bargain grocery store and I put bargain grocery store in my Waze, is it going to take me right to your parking lot?
done that. I don't
My,
know.
my point to that meaning is that
But if it
once
tells
you know
you,
where it is, you don't necessarily need all these signs. And it's not like people are coming to Troy to go to the bargain grocery store. I think that's gonna be for Troy. So I'm just.
well, we're
sort
getting
of-
people from Saratoga, Clifton Park, and I mean, there's.
Well, that's
it's-
great. Yeah.
It is, but we still need them to
Mhm.
find the parking spaces.
Can I speak on that? When I came here to do the survey for it, I put it in Google. It brought me right to the front of the store. And then I'm like, okay, well, how do I get in the parking lot? You know,
Right.
so to Joe's point is one side brings you up around the one side. If you're coming down Hoosick Street, it directs you right in, which is really nice. So you don't have to go down the River Street. You can duck right in there and go right in. It's one, you know, it'll, if anything, it'll alleviate a little bit of traffic. It'll get them right in. You know, That's the reason for that. freestanding center.
I've got a question, very pragmatic, you know, I still think it's still pretty large, but you're basically repeating yourself. You have bargain grocery, and so you know it's a grocery. And the attached sign, again, repeats grocery, and then it says parking. Couldn't you just attach something underneath the bargain grocery and just that says parking with an arrow? Do you have to have a separate attachment to even, you know, that's so large?
Which one are you talking about? Both of them?
She's talking about the rectangular one. This,
Yeah.
could you just have the circle,
If you-
which is,
This one here,
no.
The one on the right,
this identifies that you want to know what the parking's for. This is.
correct.
The mic, grab the mic.
I'm sorry. You want to know what the parking's for, where we want to find the parking for grocery bargain. If it just says parking, people, you know, they're going to park there for what?
Well,
You
you've
got to
already
identify what the
identified.
parking is for. It's not a big part of the sign. It's very small compared to the rest of the sign, but it also gives it its branding. So you can recognize the logo.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Right underneath the branding, you've already identified it as a grocery. You don't have to repeat grocery again. You just put parking underneath the brand.
So you're saying eliminate that.
Yes, she's saying,
Oh,
Bargain
I see.
grocery
Okay,
parking.
We could,
that, eliminate that.
we could do
Is
that.
that what
I
we're
mean,
talking-
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. you.
Basically a supplement to the circle underneath that just says parking. And you've already branded, you've already identified it as a grocery.
And
Makes
make
the-
it-
Makes the sign a lot smaller.
and make
sorry.
it smaller.
Exactly.
What if we move the circle to the center? And then just have the parking underneath it?
And then
It's
cut off
just-
the side, so the
it's
circle's
big.
on the top, and the parking's underneath. No,
So we, to do the
It's-
bargain
it's
grocery in the
this.
middle and then put parking underneath it?
Correct.
We could do that.
Big.
Do you still need the arrow?
I think the arrow would definitely be helpful,
Yeah.
otherwise you don't know.
It doesn't take much room to put an arrow though. You know, just
Would you prefer the arrow to the right or below, or directly below parking?
Doesn't matter.
the direction you want the arrow to be in, I think. Well, whatever is most efficient. I mean, you've got the name, you've got that it's a grocery, and all you need to do is add parking with an arrow underneath. So
Okay, that's fine.
So, go ahead, Steve, you want to say something?
Yeah, I have an observation and a couple quick questions for you. When you first came to the zoning board, I recall being very cooperative, branding the building and the two circular signs, one on each end of the building. Building looks nice. One of the observations I have is that I don't really think people from Pittstown and Boyntonville and East Greenbush are going to be driving to downtown Troy for that particular grocery. I could be wrong. To me, it's an inner city walk-in type grocery designed for walking or bus. And if that premise is correct, I would seriously question whether or not you need those additional parking signs.
I can answer that. So they've been open since September, and the conversations I've had with Pastor Mike, is they need to drive more traffic. It's certainly, First Columbia worked with them to make this building where you can get to it. The CDTA drops them right off. We want it to be within walking distance, but how far is walking distance? It's all of Lansingburg. So people are still driving. And we need everybody, not just the North Central neighborhood, but we need them for wherever they're coming from.
But when I go north on River Street, I can't miss that building.
Well, other people are missing it. It could be, sir, because you're familiar with it. But if you're coming from out of town, if you're not
And it
from
looks
Troy,
nice.
thank you. We appreciate that. But the tenant's asking us for help. So we're doing a pretty robust marketing campaign to help drive sales. And, the tenant's telling us people aren't finding us. I talk to people in this building who don't know that they're open. And yeah, I manage this building too. So it's strange, but that's the truth. So we're getting the word out from a marketing campaign. But again, this is a not-for-profit.
I got
tenant, and
that.
who's saying they need help driving traffic.
I
And part of
understand.
it's,
it.
there's no signage, and that's been the feedback that they've gotten from people. That's the feedback that I get working here in Troy. And, I've got 5-6 buildings here, and that's what I hear. So
I'm concerned about the character of the waterfront, the commercialization, the cluttering of signs that we're seeing, some of the sizes of the signs that are going up. And I think it detracts from the quality of downtown Troy. Just a personal reaction.
no, I understand those concerns, well-founded. If businesses don't have the appropriate signage to bring people to that business, they're not going to survive. And again, I think we worked very hard to make sure these signs were small enough that they're going to be noticeable by people without distracting and being gaudy. That's, I thought we worked pretty hard on.
Is there another side of the building that we could paint? And put parking?
With an arrow?
Because I like the long one. I don't like that one at all.
So you won't, I could paint whatever side of the building, but you're not gonna, we're gonna lose the benefit of people coming down Hoosick Street to get into that back lot. If I'm already on River Street, I'm already past it. Now I gotta go around the corner.
Well, that's not the worst thing in the world. And they do that once and then they know next time, I live in Troy. I think it's great that you think people are coming from all over, but I don't think they are. Maybe they're coming when they're here from the farmer's market, but for right now, I think it's a Troy business. And it will expand. And I think with the farmer's market and, as we keep putting up all these housing places, people will use it. But I think if you miss it once, you won't miss it again. So I like the one on the side. I don't like the other one.
Again, I see your concerns.
Yeah.
I've got a tenant telling me he
I
needs
know.
help. People are missing
Yeah.
the parking lot. I've seen it myself. I'm here every day. And I'm not here because I want to be here, right? Nobody wants to go through this. I'm just trying to convey a tenant. Again,
Yeah.
it's a food desert. If he doesn't survive here, you've got nothing in North Central. We worked for years and spent $8 million to bring this grocery store here, and he needs to be successful. And again, we're trying to accommodate, be very sensitive to the needs of the city and to the needs of you, but achieve the objective that I need people getting into that parking lot. They are not getting there now. That's just a fact. And I need some directional signage to help them get in there. And comparatively speaking, this is a small sign on Hoosick Street. When you go under that bridge, there's columns, there's pillars, you got the overhead. There's a lot going on. You're coming down to the red light. This is just one little sign to help get them into the
That sign
parking
looks
lot.
huge.
It's 3 by 6. It's like this. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
this
not little.
to here. It's
Okay.
about this size.
What if we reduced it to 3 by 5? Would that help alleviate? Again, to get some signage where people are gonna see it, to get into the parking lot. There's no signage to get into that parking lot right now. None.
Nothing you can put on the building? Like the other one?
That doesn't get you into the parking lot. How do I get from Hoosick? If I'm on Hoosick Street, I don't know there's a grocery store there. I can't see a grocery store there. I get on River Street, then I see it once I pass it. But to park in the parking lot, that's, you gotta go
So-
around the building.
So are you a sign guy or a marketing guy?
Neither. I'm an operations guy.
Yeah. You own,
So
you
to
do, you
that-
own the building or you manage the building?
I manage the building for Mr. Bennett.
Okay, all right. So, and you're a sign guy, not a but you're not a marketing guy, you're a sign guy.
Correct.
So to that, I would tell them that they need better marketing,
Again,
not
we're-
signage, but marketing.
The one thing about signage, I was a marketing major at University of Albany. Signage, 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 signage,
Okay,
signage.
well. We're trying to
Again,
make.
I'm
we're
I'm
trying
asking
to
you to
keep
help a
Troy looking good,
not-for-profit
not-
tenant that's operating a grocery store in a food desert. And they're telling you they need their help.
I know.
Well,
I
I-
gotta get people into the parking lot.
I think the consensus is that the sign on the right, the black and white portion is just, even if you reduced it, is still too ostentatious, too glaring. That if you keep it to the circular sign where you have your logo and you just add a small parking underneath with an arrow, I think if you came back with a new proposal, I think it's something that may be reconsidered.
We're absolutely willing to do that.
Any more comments?
Unless,
from the
unless you
board
want to
at all?
vote and give me the approval of that.
Yeah, that's the way to.
I don't think.
Never
we're-
hurts to
Go vote
ask.
for the close.
If you tell me that's not getting approved, we're absolutely going with what you want.
Well, it's something that, again, we'd have to see.
Okay.
Do you understand what I mean?
Signage is usually,
And again, we're trying to make it
Nice.
palatable for everybody. I understand your concerns with signage. But I gotta help the tenant. So hopefully we can strike a compromise that works for all of us.
May I, make it,
So we can vote, but once we vote,
no vote tonight.
No vote.
Uh,
you're gonna come back with a revision on that.
Can
Yes.
can we
wanna
vote
ask-
to
Can I-
table it again?
Yeah, you would vote to, you can vote to
Yeah,
table it.
that's for public comment, though, right?
Yes,
Pardon?
yes.
Do we have to-
Yeah, yes, but I was just gonna make a suggestion. I don't know if you can show the second sign, which is causing so much concern, some kind of rendering in situ, which would, show it in place.
which one?
Or-
The one on
The
the
one on,
bridge?
the one in the DOT road.
Yes.
This is the one.
Is that it there? I don't even know. I mean,
Yes,
Oh.
right
Yeah,
there.
that's it.
it's because you can't rotate it. or-
Well, here, we've got a
I think
picture of
that's-
it.
Yeah, here's the,
It's the one here, right?
That's it.
But that sign looks a lot bigger than.
I
this
mean-
is the the
Yeah.
second slide that's turned.
Well, that's because you're right on top of it.
Yeah.
If you show the other view where you got a little bit of distance, that gives you a better reality of it. This is so you can, if I took all the background. it looks good.
Oh, I
So,
see.
and to that one thing, if there is so much, there's so much clutter under there already.
Yeah.
Your point was, well, why not more? And I'm like, so I don't want more.
Respectfully, I didn't say I
No.
want more and it's cluttered. I
No.
said there's a lot going on.
Well, exactly. All right.
So
you
when
know what
I'm
I'm- I
coming
know what
down,
you're saying,
I'm
here.
looking at beams, I'm looking at columns. It's busy under there and I'm looking
Yes.
at the red light and there's people stopped in front of me. If I'm 4 cars back, I'm right where I could say, hey, look, grocery store, and I can go in there.
I'm
So
good.
otherwise you're just going right by it. One thing I know for sure, people are not getting to that lot right now, and that's why we're here.
Have you been to the bargain grocery store yet?
Why?
I have not stopped there, no.
So I went down after it opened, and I couldn't find the parking lot. So
Thank you.
but I parked out front, right? So there was there wasn't I didn't have trouble parking. But I just put in saw there was parking spot, I parked out front. But I would have been I wouldn't be coming down, I would have coming from River.
From River.
You
right.
can only
A
sell-
river.
So the
it's-
sign on the building solves my problem,
Right.
so.
No, I understand, but I still think it's a one-time problem is my point. It's not like we have tourists. I mean, seriously, it's a one-time problem. Once you know where it is, you know where it is.
and I think your
I
the
agree with
logo is so decorative and the
100%.
red catches your attention that people will focus on that better, quite frankly. Especially if you have
Public comment.
parking underneath, it's like,
I know.
okay, this is tied to it.
It's not
That kind of looks like something else.
That's true. That's very true.
right? Okay, so anybody else? Let's go to the public. Any public comments you'd like to make out there?
Ask if there's any
Everybody online?
online comments.
Maybe look up the online comments.
Yeah, somebody sending something. Maloney sent something. Sunday is a big grocery shopping day. Maybe Bargain Grocery should consider opening on that day.
Oh, they're closed? It is a
Are
big
you
shopping
closed
day.
on Sundays? Because somebody's sending a comment on that.
No, I believe they are closed Sundays and Mondays.
Well,
And again, they'll readjust those hours as they get busier when we have that sign.
Good try.
So, can I say something though?
Of course.
It looks like you are basing of the progress of this grocery store on signage. Have you done some studies that show it's signage that it's affecting the business? It could be any other thing.
If you can't find the parking lot and customers aren't going there, that's going to affect your sales.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
So I don't know of one business that doesn't have signage. So it's signage in the right spot and getting people to where it's parked. This is in a downtown area. It's been the Smith Beauty Supply. Nobody went there for 10, 12 years. And again, my whole thing is you can't get to the parking lot. And the tenant's saying, nobody knows how to get to the parking lot. I'm saying nobody knows how to get to the parking lot.
I think,
That's
I
why the
think,
signage is so important.
I think Angie's
There's-
comment is geared towards if the tenant is hearing that people have had difficulties finding parking, then a simple survey, once they come through the door saying, did you have difficulty having parking? You know, I think gives more statistics and support for what you're saying.
Mhm.
I don't know, anecdotally, if they're telling you that's happening, I'm gonna trust Pastor Mike that he's telling me the truth. Again, I've seen it myself. It's no different than wayfinding signage. Why is there wayfinding signage in the city? They're telling
So,
me that the farmer's market's that way. Once you've been there once,
yeah, so
And I
wayfinding should
agree.
have been part of the site plan approval before.
I get that.
Oh, yeah, it's a
But-
requirement, but usually applicants don't include this, and that is the problem.
Yes, ma'am. And again, we're trying to appease you and help the tenant achieve an objective, which we should all be on board with, was to help them be successful.
I'm going to ask probably a silly question. Pastor Mike is the owner or?
Pastor Mike is head of the Passion Coalition, who runs Bargain Grocery. So he's been in Utica for 20 years.
Okay.
And then we partnered with him to open this up. And it's nonprofit. He donates millions to different causes. Doesn't take a penny. So,
So going forward,
yes, sir.
you want to withdraw the variance and come back with a new signage plan.
They will table it.
Table it.
Table
I'm
it, table
hearing
till
that would
next
probably
time.
be my best option at this
Yes.
point, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, yes.
Roll call.
I'll move to table.
I second.
Those in favor?
Those in favor?
Roll call vote.
Okay.
Yes. To
Evie,
I vote to approve tabling.
Zach,
I vote to approve tabling.
Approve the tabling.
approve the tabling.
Table.
Motion
So
passes
5-0.
5-0. Thank you for your time and your feedback. I appreciate it. I'm gonna see you in another few minutes.
Okay.
Next.
New business, Christie Street, right?
It's gonna be a fun
All right.
I know.
There's our Christie girl.
Right here. Okay, so we're moving on to new business to PLZBA 2025-0015 49 Christie Street, use variance.
Skip 219 4th Street.
No, this is,
No,
That's where I was at. Is that right or wrong?
that's what I have.
That's what
no.
I have.
Did you
Okay.
skip? No, that is 219. 219.
I think I'm using the,
Are you on another
Yeah, this is
agenda?
different. That's different.
I should.
219 is approved.
Oh, probably using all those. Okay. Sorry, I apologize. It looked good.
New business.
Yeah.
New
Hi,
business.
folks.
So much fun.
Good, how you doing?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Anthony DiLorenzo. I'm a contractor for Mr. and Mrs. Ledbetter. They're trying to add a basement apartment to a building that they already purchased, okay, which was pretty much set up for a basement apartment. In the area around them are multiple 3-unit buildings with basement apartments, being 1329, or 41 Christie Street, 43 Christie Street, 44 Christie Street. They all have multiple
Speak
dwellings.
a little louder into
Oh,
the mic.
they all have multiple.
There you
I
go.
always
there
get
you go.
yelled at for being too loud because
No,
I'm
no, no,
Italian,
there you
so
go.
I'm
We need loud.
That's
trying to
good.
turn it down.
There you go.
But yeah, so there's 41 Christie Street, 43 Christie Street, 44 Christie Street. They all have an apartment down in the basement. Okay, this was set up to them. They believe that they were able to put an apartment down there as it was already started, you know, when they bought the building. Okay, and it came to us, they said that they changed the zoning or whatever. You know, so we're trying to get a variance to be able to put apartment down there, which would help them very much in affording the property that they purchased. There's plenty of room. We got a layout. We brought it to the town already. 750 square feet. It would be, it would just add on to the building, add on to their being able to afford the property and maintain it in a proper way. So that's what we're asking. Any questions or anything that we should be concerned with? You know, they can tell you the hardship of it. I just know, you know, the basics.
What was it zoned at? You said it was, what is it zoned as now?
Right now, they're saying you can only have 2 units.
It's a two-family.
It's
It's a two-family, yeah.
And when, and you said it was, that
You
was
said
some
it changed after.
changed after you purchased the building?
Yes,
And do you know right around that when that was?
I don't know. Oh, gosh. When did you buy it?
April 2024.
April
So
2024.
the zoning changed in April of 23.
2023.
Okay. Now, next door to them is a 3-unit. Okay? Right on that same street, like it says, 41, 43, 44, they're all 3 units. You know, so it's not like we're adding, you know, a grape in the middle of a bunch of apples. You know what I mean? It's all the same.
I mean, explain to me it was a 3-unit and then it became a 2-unit?
No.
No,
What,
it's
what,
a
what
two-
what
it's-
changed?
It's a 2-unit, but the basement was already set up. It's got an exit door, everything, you know.
It's on the
it's-
left.
No, but
looking at it,
somebody
it's on the
said-
left-hand side.
Right, it's
of
on the
building.
left-hand side, exactly.
But somebody said something changed.
The
very-
zone-
That is not.
Zoning,
accurate.
the zoning.
That was not accurate.
That
Oh,
is
so
not-
nothing about that. All right, so it's always been a 2-family. You bought it as a 2-family. You knew what you were getting into, and now you just want to make it a 3-family. Okay.
I get your, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Um,
nice and loud, yeah.
is that loud enough?
Yes.
Okay, when we first bought the property in 2024, we were sold the property as a 2-family that could be put and made into a 3-family. There was already an existing bedroom downstairs. So when you look at the listing online, it says that it's a 5-bedroom house. And when you go to rent it and you look at the first floor apartment, it is a 1-bedroom house. So, or 1-bedroom apartment. The second is actually just a 2-bedroom. And then the basement has the 3rd bedroom. So that would technically only be 4 bedroom. A bedroom legally is a door, a window, and a closet. And on the 2nd floor, really the living room we're kind of using as a bedroom because it's the only other bedroom or only other room with an actual closet. So in our minds, when we were doing the math, we were like, oh, 5-bedroom, we'll make money on 5 bedrooms. Come to find out when it's time to rent it. And when we're looking at everything, we can only really rent a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom. So you can't rent out a bedroom and a basement that has no other finishes around it. It's just by itself with heat, with lights and all this stuff, windows and everything, but you can't rent it because we're not, for lack of a better term, we're not slumlords. We're not going to put somebody in a basement just to make money, just for the sake for that 1 bedroom, because then they would have to walk up and around and it just wouldn't make any sense. So
Did you have something to say, sir?
No, I'll wait until you're done. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. And with that all being said, the math made sense, but now it doesn't because we're down 2 bedrooms, really essentially, in the reality, only 1 bedroom. Because the bedroom that's there, we cannot rent because it's in a basement. And we found out later on when we went to go start the project, we couldn't do it because of the zoning that we found out after the fact. And then we also have a huge hardship with the property. We did send an email, but it's like we have to put a new boiler system in because the heating system doesn't work. We've tried multiple times to get it to fix it. We had electrical issues. The electrical was mixed between the 2 properties or 2 apartments. So one apartment was paying for somebody else's stuff and all that. So we were just trying, we spent a lot of time and money and to try to make it so it actually functioned the way that it's supposed to legally. And yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
Probably.
it makes sense. So I mean, I have the listing right here. So, and actually in Troy, especially in these old houses that are built 1,000 years ago, they don't have to have much to be called a bedroom. I know nowadays that they have to have a closet and all that stuff, but you know, there's bedrooms the size of this table. I mean, did you guys go see it before you bought it?
Yes, we saw
So
it.
you saw that upstairs there was 4 rooms, only 2 of which were actually bedroomable, and then the other 2 were just others.
Well, we saw everything as is. And I wish we had the pictures of when we actually looked at it, but these people were they had a lot of stuff. So we thought some closets were built in that weren't really. When you take out, and when I mean a lot of stuff.
I know what you mean.
Like once we actually moved everything out, we're like, oh, this is not an actual multi-bedroom apartment. This is 1 room. And the 1 room that is a true bedroom is like actually smaller than this table and has a very small closet, probably the size of this small desk right here.
Right.
And then, we looked at the living room. We're like, we could make it work if the person wants to make it work. And they did. But it's like for that, they have no living room. And then they have all these weird rooms, like I said, that are too small. It's not appropriate for the type of people that would want to live there, considering since it would have so many bedrooms, it would be a family. So a family without a living room and a small kitchen doesn't make a lot of sense when you have a bedroom that's in the basement that's twice the size of the bedroom that's up there. And
No, I understand. I understand all that. So
Yeah.
did you have a home inspector look at all this? You had all
Yes,
these
we
troubles.
did.
Yes, my name is Everett Ledbetter, 14-year Navy veteran. So yes, we had an inspector come and take a look, and it was actually his suggestion and, our inquiry about the basement, if it would be feasible to actually make it into an actual apartment. And he said, yes, based off of the height and everything. And I just figured, we would just go through the process and however we could do it to make it into an extra apartment. And I figured, it would be feasible. I didn't think it would, I just think it would add value to the overall community, to overall affordable housing. And then that's how I looked at the numbers to make it work. So that's how I was kind of assuming that, we would be able to convert that into another unit. So that way, so to bring in the extra revenue, so that way we can, it will work with our operating expenses.
Because as of right now,
But just to I iterate, she keeps saying bedroom. What happens is when you're looking at these houses, you think it's a 2-bedroom and you can rent it for more money, but it was actually a 1-bedroom upstairs. You know what I mean?
Well, she's saying it was 2-bedroom upstairs.
it's a 2-bedroom upstairs if you use the.
If you use- right.
Because it's the only other bed, or it's the only other.
It's just the
room
way
with
it's
the
set up.
closet.
It wasn't quite set up the way it should be. So by adding a third apartment, now you can have multiple units where you can bring in enough revenue. You can bring more revenue having a 2-unit upstairs and, you know, it was changed around a little bit would be, but if you look at the apartment upstairs, it's a big, huge living room, like a big, huge living room with a dining room with a kitchen and a bedroom. You know, so it's just, it was laid out pretty odd. But the downstairs is plenty of room. They got a nice layout to put another apartment in, you know, with a bedroom, which would bring in their revenue and help them sustain the house and keep it up to par, as they do take their very good care of property. Makes the neighborhood look good. But they got plenty of property for parking. So I don't see
Yeah,
any,
well,
you know.
And
problems
it's
with
rented
it.
now, both units?
Yes.
Yeah,
currently.
okay.
I've got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
I'm a little confused, so bear with me. I too pulled up a copy of the listing. And the property was sold to you on or about April 11th of 2024 for $268,000. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, yes. Sir.
Okay. As I read the description of the for sale notice promoted by Caldwell Banker, it says well-maintained two-family property. First floor offering double living room, dining room, kitchen, direct access to the walkout, partially finished basement, offering potential to easily add more bedrooms and living space and maximize income. Second floor features 4 bedrooms,
That's okay.
living room, and efficient kitchen. So my question is, why would the Caldwell Banker real estate ad that was on the internet indicate that the second floor has 4 bedrooms, a living room, and a kitchen?
Because
She probably can't answer that.
I can answer.
No, it does. I'm missing something.
Yeah, he makes
I
a,
think it's the way it was presented to them. You know what I mean? Because if you walk, like, have you seen a house like with 2 living rooms?
Yes, a
Yes.
double living room. Sure.
An apartment.
For instance, like
Yes.
going by like if for like section 8, in order for it to be an actual bedroom, you would literally need to have a closet, a window. So we're going based off of that description, that definition, you know, not, you know, as far as that, you know, fitting that standard, because I don't, you know, yeah. that's-
okay,
yeah.
so like I said earlier, there was our first floor tenants are really, their stuff is more organized, so you can kind of see everything. And you can see the actual true bedroom, you can see the walls, you can see the floor. And I'm not trying to, you know, I know you laugh, but
No,
I'm
no,
not trying to
I
be
just.
disrespectful to
No,
other
you're not being
people.
disrespectful.
And then when you go up to the second floor, like, okay, I don't know how to put this, but there was literal dust bunnies genuinely this large. And with that, a lot of stuff and beds in weird places and propped up on the wall and all this stuff. So we can't, like, when you're trying to look for a house with tenants actually living in there, you don't really wanna, you wanna look, but you're not trying to like be in their stuff, trying to see, oh, is this? So I just tried to see what it was. And I'm seeing, like he said, Caldwell Banker says it has 4 bedrooms. So I'm thinking door, window, closet.
Right.
And I see one that has a built-in closet on the side, so because it's on the side of the wall, so I can see that as soon as you open the door. The second one I open up to the big closet, not really a closet. It's actually like some piece of wood concoction that a false wall. I didn't really realize that. Then you go to the next one, same thing. And then, like I said, the living room they considered a bedroom because it has a closet. So it's like,
So are there or are there not
There's-
4 bedrooms on the
there are
second
2
floor?
true bedrooms.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make one, and I'm gonna stop talking. So I don't have a problem me personally, with them putting in a unit in the basement, especially if if your neighborhood has a series of 3 bedrooms. I do think that next time you go shopping for investment properties, you do a better job. I don't think you did a very good job.
No.
And I don't think you were guided by your realtor. And you certainly weren't guided by your home inspector, because he should have pointed out all these things that you said that you had to replace over the last year. So
Yeah, that's also something, if you look at our financials that I typed out, that's a ridiculous amount of money to spend in 1 year on things that are not things that we want to change, like cosmetic stuff, but things that are totally necessary. 9, I think, no, actually, my mistake. It was 8 gas leaks. Like, we had tenants in there that could have been seriously hurt.
Right.
That's ridiculous. I don't even know.
but those should have been found out by
Right,
your
right.
home
So-
inspector.
So I'm just doubling down
Well,
on what
that's
you're saying,
self-imposed,
like,
yes.
there's so many things, the electrical's messed up and mixed up. That's not legal for us to have people paying for somebody else's stove, this person's front light. That's not, that doesn't make any sense. Our tenants, we tried to fix I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll wait. You're on a roll. Go ahead. You're doing
We
fine.
fixed the heating system, I don't know how many times. To the point where we had to buy space heaters, we had it's like the windows didn't have any screens, and the screens that they did have were busted. There goes another few $1,000. It's like one thing after another. There's water in the basement. When we bought the house was dry. Okay, the basement was not dry. 2 months later, because it's warm, there's a bunch of mold on the bottom. Our first floor tenants are inhaling mold, 2 women that probably, we don't want any reproductive issues. It's like they had a pretend French drain that he dug out. We had to put a curb because all this stuff, like you said, this should have been brought up by somebody way before it even got this far.
I'm failing to grasp, why did you buy the property if you had a contractor or a building inspector, or you hire someone, or the bank's going to grant you a mortgage, but they want to see a certificate of inspection? I looked carefully at all the documentation you turned in, and you've got a real long laundry list
I can explain.
of financial repairs. And I'm not questioning the fact that you didn't need it. I'm questioning why, if you did a walkthrough and there was a mortgage involved and you had a building inspector, based on what I'm reading and what I'm hearing, why would you buy it? Is it owner occupied?
No.
No, it's not owner occupied. So at the time that the building inspector was inspecting it, everything, the home inspector, everything was working. It was working fine. But then,
So the inspector.
but we did have to do mold rub
What'd you say?
remediation
So the
before. We did,
inspector told them everything was fine.
yes,
That's
but
what I
they
asked
did,
why they
they
bought
did
it.
find mold in the beginning because of the water, but at the time, the basement was dry, but there was mold. So because as we bought it, we did notice that water was getting down there. And that's when we redid that
And
remediation.
You have to also remember, this was not just this was not like a hard money loan where it's just like whatever goes. This was a VA loan. So a VA loan is built a little bit different. I'm sorry, what? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. This is not just like a hard money loan where what anything goes. This is a VA loan. So I don't know if you've ever worked with a VA before, but they're like really in every little genuine nook and cranny. So we had this inspector, and I remember telling him, it's like, this is for a VA loan. Please be as concise as possible. And he knows this. Our lender is the VA loan, and everybody knows that everything has to be in tip top shape, where we had to repaint the house, all this stuff because of the exposed certain paints and all this stuff. And then 2 months, 3 months later, you have a house that doesn't heat, has active water movement in the basement. We didn't, because there was mold in the basement, but we didn't know And there is documentation of this. We did not know there was an active water leak going into the basement on a regular basis. We had no idea. We didn't know that the French drain was faulty.
How could a
And
building inspector miss?
I
this?
have no idea, because I'm not a building inspector. I don't know.
Here's personally, with my luck on it is, they need to turn it into a 3-unit, because it'll help them financially get it straightened out. As far as the home inspector goes, they should probably sue them. Okay, because it was, you know, I'm a New York State home inspector myself, and I know damn well that they missed a lot of stuff that's wrong. Okay, now I understand she's trying to iterate that, but the main reason for being here, not to tie up all your time, is
Yeah.
they like to turn it into 3 units. It'll help them financially, you know, to recover, you know, stuff that they need done.
Couple of quick questions, and I think you should bring it to closure,
Okay.
in my own opinion. I got the idea of what's going on.
Okay,
It's non-owner occupied.
yes.
The question of self-imposed hardship comes into play, or does it not?
It's a great question.
I'm not following you. I'm sorry.
If you buy a piece of real property subject to a VA mortgage, and you have to have the home inspected,
Oh, I see what you.
and
I know what you're
you go with the assumption that there's nothing really wrong of any major concern, only to find out you've got this laundry list of thousands of dollars
I see
that
what
you
you're saying.
have to, after the fact, after the closing, put into the building.
Right.
Is that, or is that not, by definition, a self-imposed hardship?
So I guess the test applies, right? You know, whether it was self-imposed or not, right? However, I think what you were citing was evidence or such, or facts which might indicate that, you know, that I guess it's your determination whether the facts support or do not support granting whether or not the hardship is self-imposed in this case.
Okay,
Okay.
now, the next observation is, once the house was purchased, and the purchase date on the house, I believe, was
April of
April of 24,
About a year ago.
approximately 11 or 12
12
months
months.
ago. Was that after the zoning changes went into effect
No, the zoning changes went into effect in April of 23,
of 23?
correct.
So
And I'm not sure what it was zoned before.
that
It
was,
only 2 family,
so
so nothing changes.
So that did not
So-
change. Okay.
Yeah.
There's been no zoning change. to
there's
it.
been no zoning change, and it's zoned as 2-family before, and it's currently zoned as
Two-family.
2-family
So no-
now.
Yes, so no change.
So there's been no changes in zoning.
Mhm.
So what you're asking is to take a 2-unit building and make it a 3-unit or a 3-family building in a 2-unit or a 2-family zone.
That's where we're giving you these addresses. You're calling it a 2-family zone, and I don't know how they zoned it. But 44 is across the street, they're a 3-unit. 116th Street is next door to them. They're a 3-unit. Directly in front of them on 15th Street, you got 3 and 6-unit buildings.
How
So
about
how,
those ones that look new there?
yeah, those are the same thing. That's on 15th Street, right dead in front of them. You know what I mean? And they're all 3, 6 units. You know, they all got basement apartments, first floor apartments, third floor
This
apartments,
is
so.
where I'm going. I want to know what the comparable area is
Right, yeah,
being
right.
physically
It's all
used.
physically used as 3-unit to 6-unit buildings. Across the street on 16th Street, there's a 9-unit building. You know, so it's not like it's a bunch of 2-family houses and we're turning one into 3.
That's where I was going with
Right.
my question.
Yes, sir.
I have 9 properties listed that I can, if you like, want me to list them, that's multiple units. No, I could, okay.
I would take your word for it.
I'm sorry. sir.
I
We'll
said
take
I
your
would
word.
take
Take your
word
word.
for it.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
All right.
And as far as like you say, the hardship, I understand what you're saying. But you know, you got a young couple, a veteran trying to come in, trying to make the community better, trying to buy a multiple house. They got screwed by the home inspector, which shouldn't have happened. They should pursue maybe suing him. But for the time being, you could please grant them the 3 units. I think that would help.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the whole picture.
I got you. No, you pointed out a good thing to them. They should go after the home inspector.
I didn't say
Especially with the
that.
VA loan. Well, kinda. I mean, somebody's gotta be responsible for the, not inspecting it properly.
I said you relied on the inspector's report.
Yes, we did. And I also just this is my first time ever being in a meeting like this, and I've been listening pretty keenly on how you guys operate.
I
and
think you're doing fine.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. What I noticed is that you also genuinely care about what, in my eyes, old Troy looks like and stays looking like. I'm not from here. I'm from Connecticut, from like literally in the woods. So it's totally different for me. And coming here, I do appreciate how it is kept up and how it does look like cute little small neighborhoods. We live in the Pine Avenue neighborhood, which is kind of not really the same, but it's the same type of like big houses with a bunch of charm. And we've done a lot just to the way that it looks on the front. And I also heard from the other one, we're not trying to add more traffic and more parking on that street in the future, not right now. Maybe, because I did see in the zoning grid that maybe we can do parking in the future, but if we don't, it's only 1 bedroom. And it would be only one, I don't know, 1-2 cars extra max there. And there's on both sides, it's legal parking and it's open all the time. I go there to clean up, like cut grass and all that. So it's not like it's in a place where it would make it really sucky and congested. I don't know if that matters.
I drove by 3 times. They laugh. I do these things.
That's good.
Yeah,
You've got plenty of room on the west side or the left side of the building to the right of the door that goes into the basement
Yeah.
to rip out a lot of that grass, hedges, bushes, grade it off, blacktop it, and you could easily put 2 or 3 cars there without any issue at all.
That's what we would like in the future, but I mean, right now, I'm just.
No,
trying
I got that. I'm just
Giving you a good idea.
giving
Yeah.
you an idea
to- Yeah,
or removing an obstacle that somebody might have.
right. I mean, and also I was thinking about that. There is, and once again, you guys did speak in the other, that you care about how Troy looks. We could, you drove by it, so you have that grassy
3
area.
times.
3 times. So you do know that there's a ledge there for like a ledge, like a concrete ledge.
Yep.
We could actually install some type of green, like some type of like long or like ornamental grasses or some type of flowers if the board wants us to beautify the area. I don't know. I'm just trying to think
That's
because you're
not gonna
taking
be-
away green space. So why not just add something that's pretty as well besides this
Stop
black?
spending your money. We're trying to save you money.
I know, but I'm just saying in the future, not right now.
Yeah.
And I take it seriously. So I'm just trying to think of anything that might
All
come
right,
up
let's move on.
and to
you-
show my care.
You live in the city of Troy?
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, one other, did you fully take care of the mold problem?
Yes, we did. Yes.
So
And it's
good, but
listed.
it's not so good.
Well, not really. They said they remediated. I'm just being totally transparent. They said we changed the curb to actually prevent any water.
What happened was somebody went in there and they poured in the basement a curb that went up like this.
Yep.
That wasn't the problem. We jackhammered the curb out, made it flat. Went on the side of the building, the house next door pours the water right into it. Sealed that whole side up, no more water, no more mold, no nothing. So it's remediated for what the
Good.
problem was. Okay.
Okay.
And of course, it has to be remediated for the apartment and, hold on. Because my memory's shot at 61. We already had a building inspector come and look it all over. and that was Mr. Bill French. Okay, he came in, he checked it all out, and he's seen everything.
Bill French is good. He knows what he's doing.
Look on the map. She's trying to find it on the map.
Which building we talking about?
Yours, yeah.
I could. pull it
It's over.
No, this is nowhere. Yeah, and then I guess ours, so this is Highland and then ours is right on that curve.
Yep.
It's right on that.
Right on the corner.
Right there.
If you make a right off of 15 onto Christie, you go up and they're the first one on the left.
Almost
It's
mixed
very
use,
steep.
but it's it's two family, but it's right next to mixed use.
Yeah.
Any other board members have any?
Go to
No.
public.
Okay, how
comments.
about public comments? Is there any public comments out there?
I have one question. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Is this your first apartment, that building that you purchased?
No, this would be my third.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here just for moral support. I'm the parent. So I'm trying to guide these children and support them. And well, you are children. Yes. And I would appreciate if you could grant them a variance on this, because although it's a basement apartment, it does have the walkway, they have doors on each side. So it's not like it would be illegal. It looks very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go to telecoms.
Okay. Angelina, any telecomments?
No.
Okay.
Ask for a resolution to move the zoning.
So yeah, there's a seeker on this because
Ready for?
You're up, Evie.
Yep, you're up.
Okay, all right. Mr. Chair, in regard to PLZBA 2025-0015, as supported by the staff reports and the short environmental assessment form submitted by the applicant, I ask that the board find this proposal to be an unlisted seeker action with sufficient information available for a negative declaration.
I second.
Yeah.
Okay. Take a vote. Evie?
I vote to approve.
I vote to approve.
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 For the record. it's
For the record, 5-0.
Exactly.
Thank you for your service.
Folks, thanks
No,
for
we're
all your
not
time
done
this
yet. We're
evening.
not done yet.
That's
We're not
just a
done yet.
seeker. You didn't get granted anything yet.
We're working on it. Please hold.
Who wants to make the motion
I'll make the motion.
and the test?
Yes, I have my test.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we grant PLZBA 2025-0015 49 Christie Street to become from a two-family into a three-family with a use variance. I move that we approve the variance based on the following facts. The property is able to provide a reasonable is not able to provide a reasonable return unless this variance is approved, that the hardship relating to the property is unique. No,
Not so.
is not unique? I don't know.
The property itself is.
Not really sure. I'm supposed to say that one. Right here.
The hardship relating to the property.
Is unique. The hardship is unique when compared to similar properties and does apply to substantial portion of the neighborhood. The request variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood, and the alleged hardship was not self-created because I truly believe that they've been misguided severely.
Anyone want a second?
I would second that motion.
Roll call.
Roll
Roll
call.
call. Evie?
I vote to approve.
Zach?
I vote to approve.
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 5-0. Five
The
positive,
motion
5
passes
right?
5-0.
Motion passes.
Motion passes.
Congratulations.
Now I
Thank
can
you so
say it,
much for your
right? Thank you
time.
for
Go,
your
go plant some
service.
grasses.
That's right.
Oh, just one more question. We do have to come back for the permission for the driveway, correct? Parking area? We can talk tomorrow about that. Thank you.
Talk to
All
Angelina.
right.
after
Yeah.
the meeting.
I'm just asking a question. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
Good night.
It doesn't show
Good
the
luck.
box, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah, you forget. Oh, you didn't get this one. Yes.
She was very forthcoming with the financials. So I was, once she sent that around.
Okay, should we move on?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's go.
PLZBA 2025-0022, 285 Pauling Avenue, area variance.
Cindy.
Good evening, folks.
So you gotta talk louder than that.
Good evening, folks. Is that
Good
better?
evening.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. So quick introductions. My name's Kevin Johnson with Consigli Construction, Brian Dione with SWBR Architecture, and Chris Harkin also with Consigli Construction. We're here on behalf of Emma Willard, and we're proposing to construct faculty townhomes in the northeast portion of their campus, adjacent to existing faculty housing over there. And our proposal is for 4 buildings, three units within each, for a total of 12 units. And we're here for the frontage setback, the footage setback. And, what I want to point out is all judgments, the property address is 285 Pauling Avenue, but you can see, by the map here, it's, far in the northeast corner, but all judgments are made off of Pauling Ave, of which we're substantially away, on an existing and private campus drive. So we relate, fully to that campus drive as opposed to Pauling Avenue. So the frontage distance setback along with the facing setback, again, it's in spirit of the campus development. And again, it relates fully to that campus road as opposed to Pauling Ave. So with that, that's why we're requesting the distance, the frontage setback distance be increased, on behalf of this project, but also the frontage facing, again, faces the existing campus road as opposed to Pauling Ave, which essentially these would have to be turned around and, face, completely opposite direction.
Could I interject with just a quick question?
Please.
I know exactly where you're talking. It's that unused lane.
Yes, the gatehouse off of Pine Woods.
Correct. And what you're saying is the townhouses or the units would be set back from Pauling Avenue 2,000 feet.
Correct. It's approximately 1,600 feet.
All right,
But yeah.
1,500 feet,
Yes.
1,400 feet. So you're not going to build close to the black wrought iron fence at the end of the lane.
That's
You're
correct.
moving it back.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, and there's existing, if you can see on the map here, there is existing faculty housing, in the same area. So it's the faculty housing portion of campus. And, we're looking to add to that and grow that, community again, with all faculty homes.
Do you have any more pictures?
We have a site plan.
These are all intended to be faculty homes?
Yes, all faculty homes.
So I'm just trying to get my bearings. Where are we?
You know where Dr. Bessie's office used to be? To the left of Bessie's office is a
No, that
lane
doesn't help
behind
me.
black wrought
I mean, I
iron
know,
fence.
I know the campus well. I'm just trying to get my.
So
Okay.
Opposite
right to the right here is
intersection of
the
Spring and
gatehouse. That's Pine
That's
Woods Ave.
Pine Woods there?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that's the gatehouse in the
So
back there.
over there where you have the proposed, there's already houses over there. They're built.
There is, correct.
They're very sort of 70s looking houses, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Pink,
Okay, so it's
green,
just on
yellow.
the other side of that?
That's correct.
And
that-
there used
that
to be,
road-
there's where the playground was and there's a big hill.
Yes, playground, the existing playground is right in
Okay.
this area here.
Okay. Yep. And then is there still other buildings up above that hill? Yeah, up
Yes,
there?
up above.
Oh,
This
right
is
there.
a true faculty office building.
Okay.
Below, as you turn down the hill, that kind of turns into the living space on campus.
Run your
if you will.
finger on Pauling Avenue.
It's not even
I
shown on
can't.
there.
I gotta go.
He's got
about-
pine woods.
I'm right
that-
here.
That's
Yeah.
Pine Woods on the back side to the
Yeah.
right. So where would Pauling be? On the left where your pointer is now?
Yeah, Pauling is. Go to Pauling, right here.
But you're going to be set back to 1,500 feet.
Yeah, Pauling Ave is right here, and right to the right of the hand is the circle. You know, when you come off of Pauling Ave,
Yep.
you park in the circle, and there's the big stone buildings. You know, we're substantially, obviously,
Right.
distanced in the back, and
It
again,
really doesn't have anything to do with Pauling
it
Avenue.
doesn't have anything to do. So
It's
it's
not
a,
even close to Pauling.
No, it's
exactly.
just that that's the address.
It's the address of the greater campus, you know, the 75-acre campus.
That's
that-
fine. Move it along.
Yeah, I see.
So beyond that, you know, the frontage and the front facing, you know, there is a section in the code that requires EV chargers, you know, based on our size. You know, the campus has existing chargers for use by faculty. And additionally, all folks that will be living here will not really be commuters, you know, they will be commuting by foot, you know, into campus. So we would like to, I guess, be alleviated from that requirement as well.
But they'll have off-street parking on the Emma
Yes.
Willard ground.
Absolutely. So we'll have parking, you know, allotted for these units, 25 total spaces. Yes, but don't propose, we would like to not utilize or
You would
put
like
in
not to put
EV
the EV
chargers.
parking
That's
in, you're
correct.
saying?
That's correct.
Well, is there may I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there a particular reason you don't want to put any EV chargers there?
The main reason, one is the commuter use. It's again, locals to campus. The other reason, 700 foot by foot, there are 4 charging stations available right now. So we would not, you know, again, propose that they would utilize these, you know, those existing charging stations should they need it.
Are these 2-bedroom units?
They're a mixture of 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units. Four of each, you know, 4,
So
2, 4,
a
3,
f- a
4, 4.
Faculty couple could live there
That's correct.
or it's easily,
Family.
family.
Correct.
Okay.
Any more comments from the board?
No,
Well,
Okay, how about public out there? Any comments or concerns?
ask Angelina if there's anybody online.
700 feet away. is what he said.
Angelina, is there anybody online?
Yeah, that's online, but.
no, you did, but nobody came.
Yeah.
Ask him if he needs us. Do
we
you
need
need a secret?
Yep, says seeker unlisted.
Yeah,
Ask Evie.
EV?
Ask Evie to do a secret.
Yeah, when we're ready.
Okay,
We're ready.
We're ready.
Oh, no public comments
No.
or nothing? Oh, okay. All right. Mr. Chair, in regard to PLZBA 2025-0022, as supported by the staff reports and the short environmental assessment form submitted by the applicant, I ask that the board find this proposal to be an unlisted seeker action with sufficient information available for a negative declaration.
I would second that motion.
how about, what do we have to do about those 2 EV charging stations?
No,
well,
this is
no,
just
no,
the
this
seeker.
is the seeker,
Okay,
okay?
just the
I
seeker.
know.
Only the secret.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not for the variance.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion that we,
You already had a motion, so you
Correct.
just need to
Motion's made.
roll
Do a
call.
Roll call vote.
To
Okay,
approve. or dis-
Okay, I approve.
I also approve.
Yes.
approve,
Approve.
5 approve, no.
No opposition, okay.
Now you want to entertain a motion for the variance.
Go for it, Steve.
Regarding PLZBA 2025-0022, 285 Pauling Avenue, Troy, New York, use variance,
No.
Area variance.
area variance, I'm sorry. I would move that the required average front setback of 20 feet be approved to the 1,500 to 2,000 foot line from the front of the property. that the applicant be allowed to build with the frontage of the units facing the private driveway on the grounds of the property as opposed to facing Pauling Avenue. And I would move to grant them a waiver regarding the 2 EV parking spaces so that none are mandated.
I second that.
I vote to approve.
Yes.
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 5 yeses.
He
Said
said
15 to
1,500
2,000.
2,000 feet from the,
I said an
Pauling
From Pauling Avenue.
approximate distance of 1,500 to 2,000 feet.
yeah, so it's covered.
It's comfortable. We're within it. So it's passed 5-0.
There you
Excellent.
go.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You as well.
Isn't this fun? Having a good time? I want you to have a good time, Tom.
Okay,
Okay.
PLZBA 2025-0023, 547 River Street, area variance.
Our sign guys are here.
Yeah, fine guys are here.
My buddy.
He said he'd see us again.
Yeah, he did.
He said
He
that's right.
couldn't wait to come back up.
Good evening. My name is Sandy Coloratolo from Vital Sign and Graphics
Yeah.
Company. And this is looking at the proposed signage for Central Rock Gym, who have facilities in New York, in Rochester, Buffalo, Massachusetts, New York City, and they're looking to invest in this area and put one of these facilities up in the building. And the proposed signage is, there's 2 of them. There's one for the stairwell and one for the rear entrance, which is up the River Street. There's no entrance to the building. So they're looking to have it show in the back and on the side of the building. You have.
No,
No,
got nothing.
I thought they. I think you have something.
They were in the packet, I think. Provide assignments.
The stairwell.
Are they all the same?
Is it an exterior stairwell?
The exterior stairwell, which is shown from, who's it, yeah, that one there.
Are those both copies?
Yeah. It's the exterior stairwell. It's the same.
Thank you. All right, so that's the.
That's the back.
This is,
That's the back.
Is there a
This is the-
stairwell picture one?
this is the stairwell.
Oh, that is the
This is
stairwell.
That
the
is-
stairwell.
Oh.
That's the stairwell. That,
This
It
part.
just looks like a, yeah, okay.
yeah, you see that
Got it now.
going over the bridge. It's on your right side when you're driving.
Yep.
if I look at this photograph, am I
Yes.
looking at the back of the building?
That's the south side.
Facing the Hoosier Street Bridge.
So if I'm on a boat in the water, am I seeing this?
Yes, if you're headed north.
If you're heading
If-
north,
If I'm on the river, yeah.
yeah.
So that's not the front of the building facing river.
No, there isn't any signage on the front of the building. That's why the entrance to the gym is around the back side of the building. And there is a proposed sign for that over the entrance, which I have a couple that
Is that part of what, or that's already,
All right.
oh, 2 signs.
I think there's a picture in the packet of that.
Here's another, there's another one in the back.
So where does this one, so this one is up top here on the
I
stairwell.
don't see any sign there.
Yes, and
Oh.
the other one, we have. Yeah, this is in the back entrance, right over the entrance doors, and that faces the river.
All right, so this one is the back side of the building facing the Hudson River.
Yes, it is.
What about this one?
That one
This
is,
one is, if I face the building, it's on the left side.
correct.
So if I was going north on River Street, I'd see it. Or if I'm coming over the bridge, I'd see it.
Correct.
But if
yes.
I'm coming south on River Street, I would not see
You
it.
won't see it.
And there's no signage on the River Street side of the building at all.
No signs at all on that for the gym.
Okay, got
So,
it.
and what are the dimensions on these signs?
Okay, the sign on the side is the third, and on the, let's see, on the stairwell,
Yep,
which is very high up in the
Yep.
air. It's 6 by 6 for the logo part, and the letters are 35 inches, which at that height are gonna shrink to they're gonna be visible, but they won't look that big up there.
I'm sorry, how big were the letters? 30?
35 inches.
Is it illuminated?
Yes,
How?
LED illumination.
Is that the backlighting you referred to in your short form environmental assessment form?
The backlighting, yes.
Isn't that a whole nother? Yeah, isn't that a whole nother issue?
So it is in the downtown mixed use area.
Yeah, it's not halo lighted. They're encapsulated letters. They're individual channel letters that are lighted.
Can I see this? That picture. What's the size of this one?
The one down below in the rear entrance sign, facing the river is it's on that.
Oh, it's 30 inches by 20,
You do or
261
Yeah,
inches?
that's a 30-inch letter height.
I just don't know where that's at.
Oh,
And that's just above the doorway.
That's just above the
It's
doorway
on the south side.
where the entrance doors are.
The front side of the building. You'd be over here.
And that's
on
just
River.
a
You don't see
sign.
the front side.
That's not
If you come
illuminated.
over the
Those
Well,
river
is
are,
it illuminated?
you would see
they are
on the south on the
illuminated,
river,
yes.
you would
Do you
not
have any examples of what this is gonna look like? This isn't enough for me.
oh, did you see this one? Oh.
No, I
sorry.
mean, but
Different one,
he's
sorry.
saying that they're illuminated and they're.
Yeah, there's a night view of them on that too. It's showing what it would look like at night.
Could
on
we
there.
see that, please?
No. He's just got it like this.
This is the one that we stand.
Yeah, I mean, that's your
Yeah,
night
that-
view, that's your
that's-
day view.
Yeah. That's
But
it.
that's not enough for Tamara. Any visuals?
Question, if I'm coming down Hoosick Street and I'm approaching River.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I get the correct building.
Mm-hmm.
If I make a right turn off Hoosick, the building is on my left side. The front of the building is facing River. Is it like a white vinyl sided front with a big section of blue?
Yes.
It's right across from the bargain grocery
I
store.
got it. I just want
Yeah.
to make sure, because when I look at this picture of the south side of the building, this picture does not look anything like the building looks
Oh,
on the River Street side.
right.
That's why I had to ask. The front of the building looks totally,
Different than the side.
absolutely different.
I think you're right. Yeah.
You wouldn't even know it's the same building.
Right.
It looks like a large storage
Yes.
shed
Yes, it does.
facility.
And I believe that Joe knows this too, that DOT has approved, the signage off the road. That's good.
They have no issues. with
They have
it.
no
And
issues.
And it's not in the right of way, so they really don't have a purview other than it faces the state highway. So
did they issue any sort of statement or a letter?
We're waiting on it for letterhead. Angelina received an email from the DOT saying that they didn't have any issues.
That was for Bargain Grocery, right?
It was for both of them. We met with them on both fronts.
Just a question out of pure curiosity.
Yes, sir.
The front side or the face of the building is apparently vinyl sided or aluminum sided,
The email cover both.
but the south side that I'm looking at here looks like brick or stone.
Yeah. So this is, we should have done a better submission. This is 547 River Street.
That's not even the
That,
building,
that
right?
picture does not show the road.
Okay, so what you're showing me in this photograph is not the picture of the building. It's a total misrepresentation. Thank you.
Yes. The location of the sign. So wasn't
I got it.
involved in
That's
this
not the building.
Yeah.
That's not the building in question.
Absolutely correct.
So it's a misrepresentation of what the building is. Do your
So-
homework.
That shows where the sign is going,
Yeah.
but
It's not the building.
it's not the rock. You're correct.
Thank you.
So right now you're proposing two signage because I have received something from,
Jamie,
Goddamn, my
yeah,
God.
that's my son. Yeah.
that is different.
So they're just showing the building that
He
was there
sent me
before.
something.
No,
asking about
They're
wayfinding,
showing
telling me it was
an
wayfinding.
entirely different
He didn't include
building
that
that
in
is
his
not
initial submission,
even there.
so that is gonna be.
No.
The building they
you have to
built
do
was
that.
next to that building, right?
You're assuming that. I'm not.
He didn't include
I'm
that
saying
in
this
his
is a
initial-
misrepresentation.
Because you can't see that.
It's just what he submitted was-
That's not the building in question.
Yeah, that's all.
Mr. Reiner, there's certainly, I got into this yesterday. I'll look into the submission. It certainly wasn't anything intentional on First Columbia's part. And I think the intent was to show where the actual sign was going.
That's what it was. I
Yes.
think my son did it.
Which
you
is,
know.
which is above where the rock chip roof is, it goes above that. So
So it's gonna be mounted on the rock gym roof. It's not gonna be affixed
it'll be
to
mounted
the
on
top side of a building.
So that still stair tower exists and is part of the rock gym. That's how you access the roof. So.
But that's not the building.
The stair tower is correct, where the signage is proposed on the stair tower, that is correct.
But
above
that's not the
Is the
building.
stair tower part of the rock gym?
Yes. I think
So you should show the rock gym.
a 100% agree.
So, yeah, so,
Go
go ahead, no, go.
The ladies first.
When you redo this,
Yes, ma'am.
I want to see what it looks like when I'm coming from Latham. I want to see what it looks like when I'm in a canoe on the river. I want to see what it looks like when I'm coming down Hoosick
And a nighttime view.
in a nighttime view. And not a black and white. I want to see like,
Right.
I want to know what it's going to look like.
And I think we also want some more specifics on the backlighting based on what was referred to in the code that Angie rang up. Especially given, I think, what your son's second email.
Oh, the wayfinding.
Right. I mean, if tied to that, if that affects anything with regards to,
Yeah, if that is additional signage, then it has to be included in this variant. If it's going to be installed. on the equipment, it has to be included.
Back and.
This is the first time this has been presented, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, your building comes out of this building, right? Your building's not even in this picture, right? It's,
That's correct.
but it's there now
That's correct.
and it comes out and it goes right up against this staircase.
It's skinned and part of that building houses part of the rock gym.
Yes.
They're attached, but we built the new rock gym climbing portion.
Yes, you should.
So that is not shown there. I don't know why that was omitted, but we will absolutely get to that.
Any more questions from?
No.
How about out there, out in the public? Any questions on this? No? Okay, so do you want to withdraw and come back?
Or do you want?
Or do you want us to vote on it?
We do not want you to.
We don't want you to vote on it. yeah.
We
It'll-
want-
It'll get
we'll go back
resubmitted.
With a better submission, everything
Yeah.
we asked.
Okay,
So you voluntarily asked to table this.
Yes.
Thank you.
thank you.
No, thank you. All right. Let's have a good night.
Thanks, you
too.
too.
Do you want to do a motion? Yeah, you should do a motion to table.
Motion to table, Evie?
Yes, I move to table
I understand like why I didn't realize.
PLZBA
2020, 2025-0023.
I second.
That's it. Okay, take a vote.
All, just say all. in
Just
favor.
Ellen.
I vote to approve.
What would he vote?
You're
To table.
voting to approve tabling. the-
Yes, approved.
Approve.
Approve.
Yes.
5 yeses, no nos.
It'll become second nature before long.
Okay. So we are down to PLZBA 2025-0024 for Unity House.
Steve, that's what it
Sure.
used to look like.
The applicant, Unity House of Troy, is proposing to renovate, convert an existing vacant house and construct a building addition to provide a teaching kitchen for skill development. The project proposes using dumpsters at the Unity House headquarters across Earl Street rather than on-site for waste disposal. Relief is requested to allow garbage storage on a separate property.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Courtney Davis of Labella Associates with.
Can't
Mason-
hear you.
Sorry,
There you go.
hang on.
You can hold it.
Yeah.
It's
Hold
probably
it.
easier.
All right. My name is Courtney Davis with Labella Associates. With me tonight is Greg O'Connor with Architecture Plus. We're here tonight to represent our client Unity House of Troy for their teaching kitchen project at 185 Pearl Street. As previously stated, we're here tonight seeking an area variance due to the lack of garbage storage facilities on our proposed site. Before we get into the area variance, just to give you guys a little bit of background on the project. So, oops, can we share our screen by chance? It says we're sharing. Perfect, thank you. But this is our proposed site plan. So Unity House is proposing to renovate an existing residential abandoned structure and add a 495 square foot addition off the back of it in total to ultimately provide a complete working kitchen and interior dining space for teaching purposes for skill development. The site improvements with this project are going to be fairly limited just based on the overall parcel being mostly encompassed by the buildings. But out the front, we are going to provide a concrete ramp for accessibility, as well as in the back, there'll be concrete stairs to exit the back of the building. There are 2 large trees that'll be conserved at the back of the property, and then the little bit of site that's left will be restored to lawn. So onto the variance, which we can go to the next one, please. So the figure on the left shows the existing site conditions, while the one on the right is the proposed site conditions. The red lines that are in bold are the property lines. So our variance is being requested due to the lack of physical space and accessible space to provide garbage storage facilities within the site without being in the city right away and the street. So looking at both of these, you can see that the existing building spans the full width of the property. And then under proposed conditions for accessibility, we're also providing a concrete ramp, which takes up the remainder of the space in front of the building. There's also no side yards on this property, which eliminates additional potential opportunities for storage facilities. And in the back, there is a little bit of space, but again, without a side yard to provide a path from the backyard to the front of the building. And the only route from the back to the front being through the building and up a set of stairs, it's not very feasible to provide garbage storage to the rear of the building. So fortunately, Unity House does own a large office space across the street from this property. So this building here is the building that we will be converting. The office building is out of the picture, but on the left side here, this is the parking lot for that building. And in the back, you can see their existing dumpsters. So as part of the project, we're proposing to utilize the existing dumpsters for the garbage from the proposed project site. And Unity House has indicated that they do not anticipate that the added waste load to the dumpsters is going to exceed their existing capacity. However, if it does, they are committed to, increasing the frequency at which the dumpsters are emptied to account for that. So ultimately, we do not believe that the proposed area variance is going to negatively impact the neighborhood or environment. The dumpsters are obviously they're existing. They are enclosed, so they're out of sight. It would keep the trash out of the right of way and out of the street, as well as the project as a whole will be an improvement to both the neighborhood and the community itself in terms of both aesthetics and services.
Is that the front of the building that where you're gonna put the ramp? Where are you gonna put the ramp in?
Yep, so where the stairs are now, the
That's
stairs
where
will be removed and then the ramp is gonna run along the face of the building. But that is all I had. If anyone has any questions.
Chair. Okay, go.
I have a question.
Yep.
It sounds like a good project. My concern is the use of the dumpsters across the street. Traffic, people, workers, transporting debris, I'm sorry, across the street that has traffic. I would think you might be better concerned by putting a dumpster on site on the property to alleviate any problems, questions, liabilities with transporting waste across the street to a dumpster.
So that is a great idea. Oops, I'm hanging. So the only issue with that is that this red line is the property line. So this is an adjacent neighbor's property, and then the backyard. So our front yard in front of the building, I believe, is only like 4 feet wide to begin with under existing conditions. And because we have to provide an accessible ramp, there's no room on site for a dumpster. The planning department did bring up the concern of safety. And as part of that, you guys have not seen this figure yet because it all came together following our submission to you. But we are going to propose providing a crosswalk with signage at the end of the ramp. And we're going to break the existing Unity House guardrail.
You're going to what?
So there's a guardrail here. So that would be directly across from the bottom of the ramp. So we are proposing to remove a section of that and stripe out a space to allow for whoever is taking garbage out and even the people that are visiting the site, some safer passage in a marked crosswalk as well as signage. This is also a very low traffic street in general.
Has the planning department approved that portion of your address this evening?
Not yet. No, we just submitted that to them 2 weeks ago. So at the next meeting, we'll be discussing that with them.
And the traffic you're referring to is, a lot of which I think is donation people driving into the area. I'm
Right.
one of them. And so,
Right. Yep. Yeah, I would assume that most of the traffic is generated by the Unity House office building itself in that portion of the
But
street.
there's a different way coming and, like, I don't think if I've ever, when I've gone to the Unity, I haven't come in through Earl. I've come in through whatever road I'm on now looking at Earl, right? Can I get into the parking lot over here?
Do you-
I can, right?
Yeah, both sides. You can
Yeah,
get
yeah,
into
yeah.
it.
So
Vanderhaven.
that is not a very, there's not a lot of traffic on Earl.
How are you gonna secure the dumpster? I mean, you're gonna have a fence around it, you're gonna need lighting, right? For at nighttime.
Yep. So the dumpsters are existing. So it's kind of hard to see. It's small. But there is behind on the 3 sides. So the back and the sides, there's segmental block. So it's a wall up to, I don't know exactly what height that is, but probably 5 or 6 feet. And then the front of it are chain link gates to secure it. And then the existing parking lot does have lighting in it.
And is there lighting on the dumpster at all? So
On the, I
you know,
honestly,
in that area? For safety reasons, I mean.
There
people
might be-
take garbage out at night, I don't know.
There's pole lighting in the parking lot that probably
Street
utilize it.
lighting or
Well, are
parking lot.
there gonna be activities at night there anyways? Honestly?
The hours of operation are from like 7:30 to about 9.
Oh,
That's what
so
you need. So
possibly,
potentially,
yeah.
yeah. But we will have lighting on our building as well.
How long do you anticipate this project to go on?
Construction is about a year.
A year. So for a year, you're proposing to use the dumpsters on the other side of the street. Is that correct?
We wouldn't be using that for waste disposal of construction debris now. It would be just for operation.
Because the building's a derelict building. They gotta.
Right.
So you're proposing to use the dumpsters for the renovation and then continuing to use it for the garbage for the building.
It'll just be used for the purpose of when the building is converted to the teaching kitchen. So kitchen waste, any debris that,
So construction debris is not going to go into
No.
the dumpsters.
no, that wouldn't be allowable.
Talk to Mike.
Yeah, the construction debris will be its separate dumpster by the contractor.
That's what I asked
Yeah.
earlier and you said yes.
Sorry for the confusion if we did say that.
Chair, may I
Yes.
ask a question or two? Thank you. In your photograph, there seems to be, there's it looks that yellow patch, that's a fence to the north of your structure. No, the yellow patch to the right of the photograph.
Far right.
Oh, this.
Right. You see that?
Mhm.
There seems to be a 4-foot gangway behind that. Do you know if the prior occupants used that for access to the rear?
As far as I know, I'm not sure. I believe the building is right on the property line, so theoretically it would be off their property if they did.
So that's my second question. Do you know who owns the property to the north of your building?
Technically,
It's
I
a
believe-
garage,
I
right?
believe Unity House does own that parcel.
So Unity House owns both parcels, right? And that's what you're saying where you don't have access to the other parcel?
Right,
And isn't there's a garage located right there, right?
correct.
It's not well maintained, but, and there's also, and the garage is set back from the alley about 10 feet or more?
Give or take, right.
Okay. Just wanted the board to be aware that, Unity House owns both of these parcels as it is on that side.
But that parcel is also across the street.
They're both across the street.
Right,
but-
right,
But
so-
there's,
There's a one adjacent to it.
it's north.
Yeah,
So if you.
Unity House owns this parcel here.
but there's a gangway.
So there's a gangway, there's also, so you could have, if the gangway is usable, they could give themselves an easement to bring garbage out from the back.
That would resolve the whole issue, would it not?
It would make no variance necessary.
That's my point.
The other point I wanted to make was, so Unity House does have a kitchen in their building currently that they offer some of these programs. This new building would kind of offset all those programs in that building. So based on that, we didn't feel like it was increasing the garbage load, considering they're still doing programs in the building. Just for consideration.
But think about what was pointed out regarding granting an easement.
Yourself. Would you need an easement? Because they own both properties. They wouldn't.
They could grant themselves an easement so it would run with the land. If it,
You really technically wouldn't need the easement.
Unless you.
technically, you don't need the easement because you just give yourself permission to go there. I'm saying it could run with the land. That would solve the garbage issue. I mean, the garbage issue is, the issue is they're claiming they don't have any on-site location where they can handle their garbage. That's it right there. But there's
This is owned by Unity House.
Yeah, but we don't really know the full extent of what they're planning on using that for.
there's also what's covered up by the bushes there is a gangway on the left-hand side of the garage. I walked by there today.
So you could go out of there, and walk down the gangway and get to the back to do garbage.
You could put a dumpster
So
right there and use the gangway and you wouldn't even have to cross the street.
I think there might be concerns just with accessing that dumpster if we did put it right there in terms of pulling into it.
because the doorway's not there and the.
Just because of the tight
accessible thing
alleyway
is-
and maneuvering with the
Mhm.
Well,
garbage
this
truck.
Structure, is there no way of, if it's owned by Unity House, would you guys, did think about possibly doing it somewhere there, because I don't know.
Tear it down.
Yeah.
Grade it
Exactly,
off.
tear it down,
and
that's
Use
right.
it for dumpsters.
Tear it down, put it in the construction dumpster.
Don't put it in the construction.
Oh,
Mhm.
That blacktop, put your dumpsters there. Ooh.
just because it's so close to the existing dumpsters now, this is the reason we were asking for the variance.
Angelina, zoom out just a tiny, teeny, weeny.
So if you just keep panning to the right,
Keep going.
you'll see the existing.
No, the other way.
Just turn around. Yeah, there you go.
All right, so where those steps are is going to be wheelchair accessible, right?
Right.
We're so close, but it's not like.
It seems like the garage is closer.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but I mean.
Especially at
It does
night.
seem like that the garage is closer.
I think it might
be more convenient to have one service. as
Oh, well,
opposed to
that's a,
have two
that's a
services,
possibility, right?
You
Okay.
know, but that's, I don't know that that
Yeah.
merits. I mean, you make your own decision.
No, no, no,
obviously,
but that's good
whether or
thought.
not you have a
Well, okay.
whether it's variance.
So to that, how
Oh.
many bags of garbage are you anticipating making per week in reality?
Based on the size of this kitchen, there's probably going to be like 5 or 6 people that are actually learning skills in this.
So
facility.
not 5 bags of garbage a week.
No, it'll be a bag probably a per night.
Right.
And the staff would only be, disposing of the garbage. We wouldn't have anybody that's learning.
What's on the other side of the building? You said there's, Angie, if you go that way. That way, yeah.
That's just a,
That's just the city.
Oh, yeah.
again, only, that's a separate parcel,
That you
which is
don't-
not
you
owned by
don't
Unity
own.
House.
The Unity House
Yeah,
doesn't own that.
the south, they don't own to the south. They own that lot all the way to Fifth Avenue. I think there's a residential structure on Fifth.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, well, that's another parcel they own.
Okay, this one all the way to.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in reality, you've got a house, you could just have a garbage pail there if you're only doing 5 things a week.
Yep.
You could,
You don't even have to,
city garbage,
just
right?
city garbage.
So in talking with the planning department, even if we went the route of putting a trash can on the same side of the street on the adjacent parcel, we would still require a variance because it's not on the subject parcel.
Okay. All right.
But
so you're
just
gonna
to
need a
throw
variance.
that out
Front of
there,
that
that's what we were
garage
told.
Door, Unity House doesn't own.
No, they do, but it's 2 separate parcels. The property line runs along the face of the building.
So you would need another if you were gonna, you just need a variance because you'd be putting a
Just go back.
garbage to pick up on a property.
They did.
On a
own-
different
So-
property.
Right.
But it's technically a different property.
They could give
Right.
themselves an easement.
They could give themselves an easement.
That would be. a
Or
legal right
permission.
to use it.
So are you saying we could do that without a variance still, or?
I think you, or you could do a lot line adjustment, or you could do a million things, but I mean, there are ways to do this without seeking a variance from the code. For example, if you gave yourself, if you attached an easement to the parcel that you're remodeling so that they had permission to use that gangway to, pull garbage out from behind and just set it out on garbage days in the alley, that the garbage would be on your property and you have an easement for getting it in and out of the back of the premises.
Makes
I'm
it
just looking.
safer. It's safer.
Because
Yes.
the risk involved when you put garbage on separate property is what happens in the future if this lot is being sold out or this lot is being sold out. It means that you don't have access to your garbage. Again, if it's on a different property.
Could that also be overcome by an easement on the property?
If an easement, a permanent easement runs with the land.
Right. Yeah. So like, say we did use the existing dumpsters for our garbage. Would the issue be resolved if we put an easement on that property
Well,
as well?
I don't necessarily think so because you wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't be, I never heard of a dumpster easement in a sense, okay? I mean, for access, easements are usually for rights of access. And if that property did change hands, who's to say whether they would keep the dumpsters there in that location, you know. And I don't know about a dumpster easement, actually, a right to use my trash bins. I don't know.
It doesn't exist.
Well, I'll say that Courtney had mentioned the crosswalk that we were planning on implementing based on the planning board's discussion. That also helped shift handicap parking. So it's shared between this structure now and Union House's current office building. So that was a benefit of just doing the crosswalk that allowed access to that dumpster.
But you don't need that for handicap access parking,
It's a benefit because it'll have closer access to the ramp.
but you don't need it.
No, yes.
You could still have handicap parking
Yeah,
and,
you could.
and you could still have access, and you could still have a crosswalk and just keep the garbage on your own land.
But you have to put an easement.
If you want a permanent right. No, the easement is just to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Right? So they can give themselves, as long as they keep their garbage on their own land. They're
okay.
satisfied the code.
Right, because even if you have low traffic, you still have traffic and people are unfortunately, you know, on their phones, you know, distracted and, you know, it avoids, you know, those concerns.
Any more questions? from the board? Anybody out there with any questions on this?
Anybody online?
No. So you want us to bring it to a vote?
Okay, take it to a vote. They said yes.
Yeah.
So it's a type 2. Huh?
Yeah.
The applicant just said they wanted to vote. Type 2 does not require seeker.
Does not
No.
require.
Okay. Okay,
Type 2 does not require seeker.
okay.
Right, but I can
Want
make
me
a
to make a
statement if you
motion?
want.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
go
But
ahead.
should we, is it clear, do you want us to vote
They said yes.
based on, you know, that other option you're considering?
Evie, she said yes.
Oh, okay,
Well, she's just making sure she
Okay.
understands.
okay. So you ready for my statement, my motion
Go ahead.
on type 2? Okay, Chair, Mr. Chair, in regard to PLZBA 2025-0024, as supported by the staff reports, I ask that the board find this proposal to be a seeker type 2 action with sufficient information available upon which to make a determination that the project is not expected to cause a significant environmental impact.
I would second that.
That's fine. Take a vote.
Okay. Take a
Well,
vote, Evie?
We'll talk after.
Yeah.
Okay. Evie? Take a vote.
I vote to affirm.
No, you have to make a motion.
Oh,
She just did.
well, I made the
She just
motion.
made the motion.
You're
And
She
voting
just
on the
made a
seeker.
motion that
We're
it's
just
a
voting
type 2
on the
action.
seeker.
Yeah.
And
So she
Steve
doesn't-
seconded it.
Okay.
I vote to approve.
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 Approve
Five, approve.
for
For
seeker.
seeker, that's a type 2 with no impact. Now you need to make a motion.
Okay, regarding a motion PLZBA 2025-0024 with an address of 185 Earl Street, Troy, New York. The motion is for Unity House of Troy to be able to get a variance to use the dumpsters across on Earl Street rather than on site for waste disposal. The relief is requested to allow garbage storage on a separate property. Is there more that you would like?
Good.
Okay, I'll second that.
Let's go for a vote.
Take a roll call vote.
Evie?
Wait.
Criteria. You have to go through the criteria, please.
You have to go through this.
That's what I asked.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
For
sorry.
every.
I apologize.
Okay.
But it only has to do one
This is use variance,
area.
area variance, which I don't have.
Here's mine.
I move that the board approve the variance applied for by Unity House based on the following findings of fact. Do they have to meet all the findings?
Nope, just see at the
Just
top. They
One
don't-
is
It
enough,
doesn't.
actually. but-
It has to find
Variance
one.
would not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood if granted.
True.
And that would be it.
I will second that.
Now we can go for a vote.
I vote not to approve because what they're requesting is achievable by a feasible method other than the proposed variance.
I vote no.
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 Yes. It's 4-1.
4-1.
You can do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Perfectly well.
It's
So,
4-1.
4-1.
so motion. You have to put
Fails.
on a-
Motion denied.
Motion denied.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Is there anybody left?
I know that gangway was used by that building before.
Yeah.
It's all boarded up now.
Move it on to
They may
PLZB
find when they start
2025,
renovating
that one.
that it's just.
Okay,
as easy as to use it.
PLZBA 2025-0025. The applicant Neil Cloney, on behalf of the owner, is proposing to convert the second floor of the property into additional seating for the restaurant. The total proposed restaurant area is 33,162 square feet, which exceeds the permitted 2,500 square feet. Therefore, relief is being sought for the additional 662 square feet.
So it's the 3,100 square feet, not 31,000.
31, sorry about 31.
That's a pretty big,
That's a
big
pretty
restaurant, 31,000.
The ask is much smaller than that. My name is Neil Pallone. I'm an architect working with the owners of 198. We ready to go? Sorry. We're good? Working with Russ Brooks, who's here to help answer questions. The building used to be Carmen's, if you're familiar. And they're proposing to open a new restaurant, but also occupy the second floor of the existing building, which would give us the area increase over the permitted 2,500 square feet. So that's a relief of 662 square feet that we are requesting. You're not building any additional square footage. We're just using the building that's there.
So you're not modifying or changing the structure of the building.
Correct. The footprint remains the same. The building occupies the entire lot,
Got it. What are the cross streets?
First and Adams.
South Troy.
Yeah.
What's the restaurant?
What's,
Is it gonna be Carmen's again?
no, it's
No,
not
it's-
going to be Carmen's again.
What-
The- I don't know exactly what
Oh.
the program is.
Okay, all right.
We
I was
did
just curious.
submit-
Curious,
Russell.
that's all.
Yeah, I advise you not to answer that. Kidding.
Cody and I are just.
Okay. Oh,
Could you speak in the mic?
Can't hear you.
Dick was the head chef at Donna's and Paula was front of house at Donna's and buyer for the wine store. So they're gonna run the restaurant.
oh, yay.
Who
Yeah.
owns the building?
I own them with my wife.
And you're leasing it to the restaurant.
And you're remodeling right now, right? Because I'm gonna buy this afternoon.
We're
and
doing clean out. right
Clean,
now.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Lots of clean out.
So their pony show has grown.
It's different than the pony show because it's.
They're still doing the pony show?
Yeah.
Cool.
This summer.
Okay.
I just have one question, if I could ask it. Sure. Thank you. Are you planning on sprinklering the second floor?
That's a building code question.
I know what it is. I just asked you.
We are not.
You're not.
Correct.
Okay.
It's
And
not
if
required.
building code requires that, or you,
It's illegal to not sprinkler this building.
pardon me?
It's legal to not sprinkler this building by building code, by New York State Building Code. We're allowed 2 floors with an A2 use.
So,
If building code requires sprinklers, we will provide them.
okay, all right, because I think building code believes that you're going to have to sprinkler this.
Then we'll deal with them next.
Just wondered if it was in your plans. So it's not right now, is what you're saying.
Not currently, but we will, the project will be legal before it gets built.
Regarding modifying upstairs and getting the relief for the square footage requested, is there or will there be a fire escape from the second floor to either an alleyway or the main street or a gangway?
So the existing building stair to the second floor is very treacherous. Part of the project is to build a new compliance exit from the second floor.
Which would involve a fire escape, would it not?
It's an enclosed stair. So when you say fire escape, I think of
There's a fire on the second floor. I can't go down the first floor staircase to get out. How
there
do
are
I
two
get out of the
staircases.
second floor?
There are 2 staircases. There will be 2 staircases, no fire escapes.
But they're on opposite sides. You're not occupying the same stairwell.
I'm not sure I'm understanding. Can you zoom to the plan? The second floor plan? So this is a plan of the second floor.
Yep.
You can take the mic.
Stair, this is kind of winding steep stair. We're building a completely compliant enclosed staircase out the back.
Grab the mic.
So that second floor occupants have
So
a way
there's
out.
2 separate exits getting off the second floor.
Correct.
That's what I wanted to know.
Okay, I'm sorry. Fire escape is different than a
Yes,
legal
you're
exit.
correct. You have 2 exit routes that are different.
Correct.
Thank you.
And one of them will be fully compliant.
Good.
The others exist.
Is there going to be an elevator or a lift to get people to the second floor?
There is not.
Okay. Ask if there's any comments.
Any comments or more questions from the board?
Comments from the floor or
There's no more
televised?
floor out.
Doesn't.
There's no more
matter.
Any
floor.
comments
The
from the
floor
floor?
is at the podium.
Okay.
There were 2. but-
Should we make a motion?
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh.
Oh,
Is anybody left?
No.
Everybody's gone.
Oh, okay. Oh, nobody else on the day. There's something different.
That's from Barton
Yeah,
Grocery.
that's from the
Yeah.
grocery store.
so if there's no comments, we'll proceed with the reading of the variance and a vote.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I make a motion. I move that the board approve the variance PLZBA 2025-0025 to allow the additional
It's a type 2.
662 square feet
It's
on
okay.
the
I'll talk
second
to you
floor.
afterwards. It'll be okay.
And the variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or be a detriment to the neighborhood properties if this is granted.
I second. Oh, sorry.
I second that motion.
You can have a second.
Bring it to a vote.
I vote to approve.
I vote to approve.
Approve.
Approve,
Approve.
5, approve, no,
No denies.
no denies.
Thanks for waiting so long.
That was a tough one, huh?
Carlos said you're gonna have to sprinkle it.
Pin. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we'll
Thank
we'll
you.
deal with them later. So I will
Close the meeting.
What we do?
I don't know, do we?
You want a motion
That's
to
what I
adjourn?
heard
Yeah,
today.
Can I have,
Can we please have a motion to adjourn before?
Oh,
I
yeah,
second.
yeah. I motion to adjourn this
Second.
meeting.
All right.
Roll call vote.
Second,
All
who
in
seconds?
favor?
I
Approve.
Aye.
Nobody second?
Aye.
Yes, Zach said.
It's been real fun, guys.
If you don't, welcome to the club.
I know.
See, we really do need.
Thanks for all your help.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Whereabouts in Trading?
Right upon- right
It's
upon
necessary.
Oakley. Right across from the Fair Park.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Right
That was a lot.
Where do you live?
I live on 9th Avenue. So